This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 556 for June 18th, 2018. E3 2018. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello.
This is our E3 extravaganza, which means that we're only going to talk about news stories this week, as we typically do. We're going to save all your questions for next week. All the release, nothing gets released this week anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know, what you've been playing, all that stuff gets scooped till next week. So we're going to have another meaty 2-week-long episode for next week.
Yep.
So check that out then. We're going to cover almost all the conferences. We're going to scoot over one of them. We'll talk about later. And we're going to cover all the conferences in order and then sort of break down each one by the games that were shown in chronological order during the conference. So not going to be some highlight thing. We're going to talk about everything. Probably the only stuff we're not going to talk about is some of the smaller stuff that got shown on the floor after the conferences. We'll hit up a little bit of that, but that's not really the super focus for these episodes. So.
Yeah, and for the records, specifically, if I don't know anything about anything that happened off the conferences, that's because that's all I had time to actually watch this week.
I mean, these things are so long. There's so many of them.
Literally, I wrapped up yesterday, and I didn't watch 2 of the press conferences.
Yeah, I said don't worry about those two because, well, they're fine.
Yeah.
2 quick plugs here, though. We recorded the latest Game Club recap episode for Owlboy yesterday. It's going to be live in the feed the same time this goes live.
Yep.
If you want to hear 3 people be really disappointed in a game, go listen to that.
Speaking of recording yesterday, we also did record episode 4 of ODNF yesterday as well.
Nice.
Which should be hitting everybody's feed on Friday.
Yes. So check that out. Speaking of Patreon, patreon.com/E1M1. If you're at the $5 level or higher, you'll get Old Dog New Flicks. And if you're a patron at any level, I'm going to be sharing the giant show notes that I have typed up for this episode. It's currently sitting at 15 pages. And it is sort of a stream of consciousness thing while I'm watching the press conferences. Moonpier has been tickled by it, so, you know, it gets the stamp of approval there. So, patreon.com/E1M1. All the business at the beginning is over with, so let's get started with E3 2018, week 1 with EA. They started the show sort of unsurprisingly with Battlefield 5. They really... the thing I was surprised about is they focused on the multiplayer instead of the single player. They showed you can dive out of windows, you can run over a building with a tank, which does look really cool.
Yeah.
But they kind of didn't show a lot.
Not really. It was basically just a promotion for the game. Like, it wasn't anything in-depth, nothing too special. I mean, the fact that they're calling out again the fact that the destruction engine is improved, which it feels like on these new engines, on the new consoles, that tech improves every single Battlefield game. Mm-hmm. So if it's getting back to where it was with, like, I don't know, Bad Company 2 or Battlefield 3, that destruction tech was incredible. So if they can do similar stuff here, then that's great.
Yeah. They did again say that there are no loot boxes or season passes or anything like that. Yep. They did briefly talk about their Battle Royale mode again. People seem to forget that this isn't again, and they just want to be snarky about it, which, by the way, want to talk about a lot of snarkiness around E3 this year. That's not really going to be me this year. I want to be positive about new games. They didn't show anything about it. Didn't even talk about what the mode is called. They'll be showing it later this year, they say.
Yep, which makes me think that they are still... they've got the tech for it. They can run 64 versus 64 on PC, so we know they have the tech for it. I think they're just fine-tuning everything right now, because if you have vehicles, let me specifically say, if you have tanks in a single-player Battle Royale game mode, that's going to cause problems.
Yep, it's going to be like that Thanos gauntlet in Fortnite, where it's like, well, that person wins.
Yep.
Next up, they showed FIFA 19. They didn't really announce a ton of stuff.
No. See, this
except
is where
for the
you're wrong.
the new license they got.
Yep. This is kind of a huge deal. Like, this is a really big deal. For the longest time, Konami have had the UEFA Champions League license.
Right.
Which, that's the license that you're talking about, by the way.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I was like, it's UE something?
Yes, it's the UEFA Champions League. United European Football Association, I believe that stands for.
Okay.
Konami had it for the longest time, and they had it in Pro Evolution Soccer. So any team that was in the Champions League, they had licensed versions of. Everybody else, they did the old school thing of, it's not Steven Gerrard, it's Jeevan Sterrard.
Right.
That kind of trick.
Steven G. Arard.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And Konami actually let that lapse with not this year's game, but last year's game. So it was only it's only a matter of time until FIFA picked her up.
Yep.
And the fact that they've got it is kind of a big deal. The big downside to this is with Konami and Pro Evolution, it looks like there's only one game in town when it comes to the soccer again.
Oh, bummer.
Which is a problem.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do with it. I mean, the last couple of times I played FIFA, I actually really adored it. So hopefully they do good things with the Champions League license. It's kind of super iconic, especially to teams who have played in that tournament. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a huge get for them, but at the same time, it's like, I don't care that much.
Right. Like, don't care that much to pick up FIFA?
Not right now. Not when I trailed off so badly on 17 was the last one I played.
Yeah.
I think.
Because they also mentioned they're putting some of the World Cup stuff in FIFA 18.
Yep.
So that was kind of nice that they covered both of that stuff. Do the sports games from EA typically show up in Access?
They do, but usually it's the year after. So
okay, that's not so bad.
Now 18 will be hitting the vault just in time for you to get hype about 19 and possibly pick up 19 instead. Right. So they usually do drop them, but it's usually probably about 3 months before the next one comes out. They'll drop it into the vault.
Yeah. Remember FIFA? Yeah.
It's usually what it is.
Yeah. Andrew Wilson was back on stage this year, thankfully not in the shiny suit, which is nice because he sort of looked like a Pixar villain in years past.
Yes.
He did announce a tech trial of their new upcoming streaming game platform, which doesn't seem to have a name, but I'm assuming it's just going to be part of EA Access or Origin. So they didn't really give a lot of details other than, hey, we're making a streaming game platform for EA games. Sign up for a tech trial.
Yep, I hope so. I hope it works. EA have got the clout for it. Let's see if they can pull it off.
Yeah, and hand in hand, they announced EA Origin Access Premier, which is just word soup there, is a subscription service for Origin on PC. It feels very much like EA Access on the consoles, but with a little bit more rubbed in there as well. Yeah. I can't help but feel if this goes well, then we're going to be looking at EA Access and then EA Access Plus or EA Access Gold on the Xbox. Yeah, exactly. EA Origin Premier Console Edition. Yeah. They did announce as part of this that Madden is coming back to PC, which is a really huge get, because that's been... people have been asking for EA sports games to be on PC for 7-8 years since the last one came out, maybe longer than that for stuff like NHL and Tiger Woods. So maybe all the microtransactions has something to do with why they don't like putting them out on PC. Yeah, maybe, because then Steam would be taking 30% of that, or they could put that on Origin now. Hackers would take 100% of that. It's true. Yeah, that is coming later this summer. The host for the EA press conference, who I actually really liked, she hopped on a seat and found what is his name from Respawn?
Vinny, wasn't it?
Oh, Vince Zampella. And they said, hey, man, what are you guys working on? He's like, oh, we're working on some games. We're not really ready to talk about it. Whoops, we are Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Mm-hmm. So they're making a Star Wars game. The only thing they didn't even show a logo or anything. They just said it takes place during the period when Jedi are being hunted, and it's coming out fall 2019.
So that's what, episodes 2 and 3?
Yeah, like 2, 3, before 4, maybe. Yep. I'm not like the super... I like the Star Wars movies, but that's about as far as I go. So, I'm not that'd be my wife. I'm not the person to deep dive into Star Wars lore. But I think when you talk about Respawn making a Star Wars game, that I get interested.
Yeah, after their work on Titanfall, I'm 100% in for that. Yep. Not to mention, in my opinion, they made the best Call of Duty game. So,
which one was that?
Modern Warfare.
Okay. Yeah.
Zampella and West, the two lead and Respawn, are the people who made Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah. I can never keep track of like which ones were the ones they did, and then like Respawn obviously made Titanfall 1 and 2, which are fantastic, but that lineage is hard for me to keep track of. Speaking of Star Wars, they showed off Star Wars Battlefront 2. They tossed a developer on the stage to say, hey, we screwed up.
Yep, all bad.
Yeah, they threw this guy to the wolves. I was pretty impressed with them getting on the world stage and saying, hey, we didn't get it right. We're doing better, and we're working hard to make that happen.
Yeah.
And then they said, hey, we're going to expand it to cover Clone Wars, which could be pretty cool. They showed General Grievous. They talked about Count Dooku. They talked about, the standard villains you would want for Clone Wars stuff.
Yes.
But that seems pretty interesting, but I'm wondering how... I wonder that you probably don't have to sell very hard to the people that are playing that game still.
No, I imagine the people who are still in are still in. I think they're trying to get as many people back in as they can get right now. That's their main target. It's
like Destiny 2. They announce more DLC, and I say, okay.
Yep.
I'll keep playing Destiny. Sure, why not?
You're already in anyway, so what does it matter?
Yeah, exactly. Next up was Unravel 2. They show a short trailer where Yarny dies in the ocean.
His spark. Come on.
I know, but it was very much like, what are you guys announcing? Like, is Yarny just dead? Is Unravel 2 never happening?
Yep. And they're being replaced by Blarney, who is a Yarny of the sea.
Yeah, exactly. They show off it's two Yarnies, one red, one blue. You can play it single player or co-op. I thought that was a really great trailer of here are all the cool things that you and a friend or sort of you playing co-op and switching between the two characters can do.
Yep.
And then at the end they said, yo, it's out now. And I said, oh. Okay, yep. That's a great release date for that.
And yo, it's out now. And yo, you can choose the color of your Yarny.
Great. That's cool.
Yep. Oh, man. I know this because I started playing this game already.
Yeah, and I should probably mention also our next Game Club game is the first Unravel.
Yep.
So go play that, and then you can scoop up Unravel too. But that was a really cool trailer. I liked how they... I also liked that was a really great... I thought when they showed the game and they were showing like the debug menu of getting everything set up and resetting the game, I was like, oh man, this game is like a couple months out.
He was like, wait, this isn't set up right, and he very quickly just got it set up to exactly where he needed it to be.
Yeah. Next up was Sea of Solitude by a new studio called Jomei Games, a small studio from Berlin. Probably one of my most anticipated games coming out of E3. This is the when humans get too lonely, they turn into monsters game.
Yep, my notes for this say, yes please, loss of emotions plus balance it out. Yeah, I'm in for this 100%. It did give me a very... what was the game we played for Game Club? The roguelike boat game.
Oh,
you know the one I'm talking about.
Yes. Flame in the Flood.
That's the one. It gave me that kind of feel, but with a bit more Metroidvania in it.
Yeah. I think one of the things that made me the most interested in Sea of Solitude was one of the women that's developing it got on stage and was very clearly very passionate about the game.
Yep.
And I think when you look, not to skip ahead, but when you look at E3, I feel like that's the stuff I loved the most this year was the people making the game got to tell us about it and got to show us how passionate they were about it, and that makes me really excited about the game.
Credit to her as well. She looked very nervous, but as far as I'm concerned, she nailed it.
Yeah, 100%. I can't wait for that game to come out. That's with somebody in Discord. We had it. For anyone listening after the fact, we had an E3 2018 channel in our Discord server this year that was very, very active. Someone in there joked at me and said, you need to add this to the game club list immediately. Like, that's exactly the sort of game it is.
Yep.
Next up, they showed NBA Live 19, which is 100% out of my area of expertise and mostly looks like it's more of the same, for better or for worse.
My note for NBA Live 19 says, no thank you.
Yeah. This sports game. You're not listening to the show for sports games, so.
I play the sports games, but my experience with NBA Live is mostly negative.
That's fair, yeah. They showed off Madden 19, which is probably the presentation I had the biggest problem with at E3 this year. They showed off the Madden 18 tournament winner, Young Kid. This, I feel like when video games are featured on the world stage, don't show someone who's a sore winner and a sore loser. I didn't like how they came out and said, like, this is this great kid, he wins, and he's also kind of a turd.
Yeah, but he was also on stage with a guy who played for a team who called himself like the king of the touchdown celebrations, which is basically the exact same thing, but in the real sport.
Right.
So if they're
Nobody
going
wins.
for the audience for that sport, then they have nailed the audience for that sport in both of those people. So
that's fair.
That's fine.
They also didn't show a lot of Madden otherwise, so I think they're basically just saying, like, hey, do you want a new Madden? Because it's coming. Yeah, November, probably.
Shocker. Madden is going to be out again.
Yeah, so weird. They showed off, someone from Redwood Studios came out, and they started showing off...
Let's just talk about that really quick. So
Okay.
someone from Redwood Studios shows up, and this is one of the few moments my wife happened to be walking through the room as this was happening, and I literally perked up in my seat. I was like, Redwood Studios. Oh, you've
Tell
got
me
my
more.
attention, sir.
Yeah.
And then what is it?
It turned out to be CNC Rivals, which they didn't mention at the beginning of the play demonstration, I guess. It's a mobile CNC one-on-one game. Their direct quote was they're going to reimagine RTS games for mobile. And I have so many thoughts about this because I think I'm, unlike a lot of pundits I've seen online, I'm not dismissing this game out of hand just because it's a CNC mobile game.
It looks cool.
It looks cool.
Really cool, and totally not for me. That whole Clash, whatever it was, where it was the tower.
Yeah, like Clash Royale and all that.
I did that. It sucked me in, and then I backed the hell out because I don't want nothing to do with that type of thing anymore.
Ditto. But bringing up the CNC name for this feels bad in my heart.
To me, it's not even the CNC name because that name means nothing anymore. Not after the whole free-to-play whatever it was thing they did. For me, it's bringing up the name of Redwood Studios. It's like, Dune 2000, where are you when I need you?
Yeah, like just retire that team and that team name. Just bring up. And I think the weird thing is, if you would have named it something other than CNC Rivals, I don't think the name helps the game that much. No, I don't. I feel like most people, if they didn't watch the press conference and they go and they see it in one of the app stores, a couple months from now, and they say like, "Oh my God, there's a new CNC game. It's on my phone," and they play it and they go, "This is not
CNC.
Command and Conquer." I feel like you're sort of screwing yourself at both ends. You have a bad coverage at your press conference, and then you get a 1,000 or more 1-star reviews in the App Store because people are like, "Well, this isn't Command and Conquer. Like, what are you doing?" So
yep. No winning at all. The name doesn't have the cachet you think it has anymore.
And in the middle of seemingly a pretty inoffensive EA press conference. Everything was going smoothly up until this, and it just very weird. EA then mentioned briefly that they donated over $1 million to 3 charities. Most of them seem to be anti-bullying.
What a coincidence! The company that makes their money off psychologically bullying you to buying loot crates donate to anti-bullying.
I said I'd be positive about E3 in general. $1 million isn't enough.
Nope. Number one, it's not enough. Number two,
put 2 more zeros after that, and now we're talking.
Yes, and on top of that, this is a press conference about the games you're making. This is not a PR stunt.
Yeah.
You've already done the PR stunt stuff at the very beginning of the show by saying, yo, no loot boxes, we learned our lesson.
Yeah.
That's all you need to say.
Some of that PR stuff works well in the nightly news, and they talked about video games and their philanthropic acts, and sort of like, that's fine. Last but not least, they showed off the game I've been personally interested in seeing more footage of, and that was Anthem.
Yep.
Because I wrote in Discord, I sort of have been accidentally on a media blackout on this, because like a trailer will come out and be like, oh, cool, I'll watch that in a little bit, and then never
6 months later, you still haven't. Yeah.
Yeah. Trailer said it was in-game footage, coming out February 22nd, 2019, PC, PS4, Xbox One. They showed off sort of a ton of stuff.
Yep.
More than I was expecting.
Here says, don't get hype.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to look at they didn't even show a full mission. Later on, they show highlights of a mission called Scars and Villainy. And some of the YouTubers I watched got a chance to play sort of pieces and parts of that mission. They weren't showing the full mission from front to back. It's easy to see how Anthem is taking the lessons learned from stuff like The Division and Destiny and shared world shooters like that, and sort of saying, we're going to make a BioWare one.
And I hope they do. I legitimately hope they do.
Yeah.
My wife is on, like me, and Jess are both kind of on media blackout for this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm less so because I have to watch the press conferences. I'm not going to cover my eyes while this is shown, just so...
La 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 la.
But my wife being a Tumblr user, she has things spoiled for her on a regular basis, where all of a sudden a GIF will just appear on her scene. And her takeaway from what she's seen, which isn't a whole lot, is she's interested, but she's not sure if it feels like a BioWare game based on what they're showing.
Yeah.
That's my big concern as well.
I've seen a lot of that, and I feel like how I've come to terms with this is we're seeing a divide with the BioWare games that were coming out. I think we're still gonna see on some level the classic BioWare games that are single player, offline, story focused. There's
Dragon Age, whatever the next one's called.
Yeah, they say they're still working on Dragon Age. They're quote unquote figuring it out, which take your time. That's fine. And I think we're going to start seeing the other half of BioWare, which is going to be things that are more conventionally modern. Like this is a shared world shooter. I know they're pushing some stuff where they say, there's your headquarters, and I saw someone online liken it to your headquarters in Monster Hunter World, where there's portions of it where people are with you, and there's portions where it's just you. And it sounds like the portion where it's only you and no one else, that's where they're delivering the story.
To be honest, like that idea is good for me, but they have to deliver a proper story section in there. They can't be no Destiny 1, Destiny 2, all the stories in the whole world, because there is no story there.
Right.
They can't be a Hunter World one, because there is no story there.
Right.
It needs to have the story. That is, I will buy this game, I will play this game, I will probably love this game based on what I've seen so far. But at the same time, hopefully they maintain some of the stuff that I love about BioWare, and if not, like you said, there is going to be a Dragon Age right around the corner for it.
Yeah, and I feel like if any if there were a handful of companies that would be able to figure out a shared world shooter, a lot of people are calling them looter shooters, and that term just grates on me.
Thank you, Borderlands, for creating that.
Yeah. I feel like if anyone can figure out a shared world shooter, it'd be like, okay, well, Blizzard and BioWare are probably two companies that can figure out how to get gameplay right and get a story in there. To be fair, Diablo 3 wasn't the strongest on that, but,
They changed it.
Well, from a story standpoint, Diablo 3's story was a little bit fine, but maybe not super great.
Guess what, the devil's here.
Yeah. The one thing I really enjoyed, and if you've seen me being grumpy on Twitter, you've probably seen some more of this, but one thing I really enjoyed was them talking about your javelins are the suits.
Yep.
And I think the thing that really interested me is them coming out and saying, you are not your suit. When you go out on a mission, you pick which one you want to be. You don't have to say, like, I'm going to be a ranger, and that's my class for forever.
The opposite of Destiny, where you are not your character, you are your class.
Right. And I'm excited for that, because I think I like that better, but I'm already grumbly about it, because I'm already going to know you're going to run into somebody that's like, hey man, I'm a ranger. That's what I do 100% of the time. I don't care what this mission needs. I'm good at ranger. All you guys need to change your class. It's like...
That's where the best community on the internet comes in.
That's right.
Really quick, like I've made a couple of notes for this. My second note, other than don't get hype, is Muse song. Yes, please, because they did a remix of a Muse song as the trailer for it, which I love when bands I know get used, because I don't have that broad of a knowledge. Spoiler.
And Muse is great, so
yeah. My third note for this is Warframe plus Destiny plus BioWare RPG. I'm in.
Yeah, I just sold.
Yep, that's what everything I'm seeing about this. That's exactly what this thing sounds like. It sounds like those three games kind of blended into one.
And they did make a specific point to say that they are not doing loot boxes, no ability to pay for power. They pushed that really hard.
They did mention they will be doing cosmetic stuff. Yeah,
and they very specifically said, we will allow you to pay for cosmetics, but you're going to spend money on buying the thing you want, and you're not going to be opening loot boxes. So, okay. I mean, it's still not great, but it's the lesser of three evils, so...
It's the lesser of six evils at this point. Come on,
it's
there's
true.
So many variations.
Yeah. But that's what they wrapped up their conference with. How did you think EA did for their show this year?
I thought it was okay. Like, Anthem obviously kind of stole the spotlight, and it got me real interested, and I'm doing my best to make sure that I don't get super, like, squiggly, like that squiggly feeling you get inside when you
I was like, ooh, it looks so good.
Yeah, I'm doing my best to avoid feeling squiggly about it, but otherwise, it was more of the same from EA. Like, it was pretty much par for the course. It was, oh, hey, guess what? The two exceptions, really, three, CNC Rivals.
Right.
Unravel 2, I was not expecting that, because I haven't heard hide nor hair of that coming out. And Sea of Solitude, those three was just like, okay, you've got me for at least 2 out of your 9 games that you showed this year. So.
Yeah, I agree. When you look at EA in 2018, they're putting out your standard E3 press conference. They're hitting all the notes you want them to. They're showing all the stuff they really need to, especially with Anthem. And they've got 1 or 2 surprises, and then they call it a day after about an hour to an hour and a half. So, nothing wrong there. Let's hit up the first of the big 3 here, though, next with Microsoft. They started out with a trailer. I didn't know what it was for, and then Master Chief's helmet is on screen, and it's Halo Infinite.
Please tell me it didn't take you until you saw the helmet to know that was a Halo game.
It 100% did.
Really? The fact that you can see the Halo in the trailer and you still... Okay.
No, I wasn't super paying attention, because I was like getting my show notes ready and like getting everything set up, and a lot of times I was watching something on my phone while I was trying to get it up and running on PS4, and it's like, well, Twitch wasn't running great and YouTube is too quiet. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, when that helmet came on screen, I was like, all right, that's a cool moment. Like, that's you're putting out a pretty cool Halo trailer, and then like the camera swings up and you see the big Halo stretching off in the distance. It's like, all right, I'm definitely not a Halo fan. That's a pretty cool trailer.
Yeah, I really should play Halo 5. I haven't played 5 at all.
Yeah, so they didn't talk about anything else.
Nope.
About it.
Literally, the only thing they did was teased it. So
yeah, shocker! We're working on more Halo.
Yeah.
Next up, they did show Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which looks like basically they're taking what they learned in the first game and they're just making more of it. They did say that they're making it in 4K, which is gonna look just so good.
Yep. My note for this game is I really should play the first one.
Yeah, first one's really great. Maybe it'll have to come up on our game club list. Wink. Before this one gets...
Metroidvania platformer with really difficult sections. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, God, it's so good. I didn't write it here in my notes, but I think this is around the time when they came out on stage and said, hey man, we're just going to show a bunch of games. 50 games, 18 exclusives, so many other ones.
I think it was like the first thing in the show that Spencer did was he showed the Halo trailer and he came out and was like, yeah, that's this, now let's go.
Yeah, here we're going to show them 50 more games. Let's go. It was nice to see Phil Spencer on stage. If anyone hasn't, speaking of Phil Spencer, if they haven't watched,
I need to listen to this. I need to listen to this so much.
Yeah, Giant Bomb's yearly interview with Phil Spencer is only, I think it's like 25 minutes or so. It's so good. Not only is Jeff Gerstmann an incredible interviewer, but Phil Spencer comes out and just sits there and is honest about the state of Microsoft and Xbox and crossplay and a lot of stuff. And it's nice to see an executive sit down for a little bit of time and just be honest about him and his company and how it feels to be in second place and how all this other stuff feels. Like it's great.
It's also the fact that it's something I think we mentioned on the last episode. It's the fact that he's not afraid of referring to the competition by name. Like, look at 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and people were referring to the other platforms as other platforms or
those other guys.
You know, it's like they have names.
He even talks about Microsoft being a third party for Nintendo and how funny that is. It's like, yeah, these are great. This is
technically
great
a third party for Sony as well.
Yeah, totally. Next game they showed was Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, which I think we're just going to call Shadows Dies Twice. This is From Software's new game that basically looks like a samurai version of what they do best.
Yes, so of course I'm in. My first note for this was yes please, Onimusha by From Software, and then after that I wrote yes, and that's it.
I think him having that bone hand arm thing looks really cool, and having them do a samurai version of Bloodborne's and Demon Souls and Dark Souls, it just looks super cool. Like From Software puts out a trailer where you're like, yeah, that looks awesome. I will probably never play it, but man, does that look super cool.
Like 3 or 4 From Software games got talked about this year, and I need to play them all.
Yeah. Next up, they Todd Howard, I think it was, from Bethesda, comes out and says, hey guys, Fallout 4 is on Game Pass right now. Has some Xbox One X enhancements, which is probably just better resolution, better load time, stuff like that. Yep. And it comes out to talk about Fallout 76, says it's 4 times the size of Fallout 4, which is...
Nope. I'm out.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Fallout 76 because they dive deep into it during the Bethesda press conference later. They show off a new trailer, which we will see a couple more times during the show. Not a ton of combat, but a ton of, look how pretty West Virginia is in our game. And it looks really great.
Country roads to the place where I belong.
A really great cover of that song.
And the worst thing is every single video I watched, because I watched these after the fact, every single time, like I had to watch some of these press conferences in 2 sittings.
Yeah.
So like an hour I'd do something, then come back an hour. The video would refresh, and every single video I clicked on, that song and that stupid trailer was on every single one of them. I heard that song like 50 times over this past 7 days alone.
Oh.
I'm already burnt out on it.
Yeah, it's good, but not that good.
Yes.
Next game they showed was The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which They didn't show Don't Nod's game name for a little bit, and I was just like, oh no, is this another Life is Strange game by someone else? Like, I allowed some skepticism for the second one, and that was really good. They showed Don't Nod, and I was like, okay, cool. Wait, are they making more Life is Strange? I don't know if I want that either. Then they show in the Life is Strange universe, and I'm like,
Does that basically just mean it's on the same engine? Because it looks like it?
Well, so, first off, June 26th, 100% free. It's going to tie into Life is Strange 2 somehow in your choices, so play it on the platform you'll play Life is Strange 2. They came out and they did an interview later where they said this is them relearning their engine, and they actually ported it from Unreal Engine 3 to UE4. So a lot of it is, all right, we've got to modernize our engine, and then we've got to get used to how does our pipeline work, and how does all this animation rigging work, and they said, let's make something that feels
digestible and free.
Yeah, and like it feels like Life is Strange, and some of it will introduce you to the world and the characters of Life is Strange 2, but without having to potentially screw up Life is Strange 2.
Hey, it's a tech test in a universe that I kind of really love.
Yeah.
For free. I will play this 100% of the time. If this is a really... The way you're describing it, they made a very smart decision. They reaffirmed their pipeline processing. They made something in that time, so it wasn't a waste of time.
Yep.
But the best part is they can and do want to release it, and they're going to do it for free. That's the smartest thing they could do.
There's a really great interview on Gama Sutra with two of the people on the team, specifically about their art pipeline, where they're sort of saying, I won't talk about the whole interview, but a lot of it was, obviously some of this superhero stuff can't carry over to Life is Strange 2. Do you feel badly about just throwing out all these assets you made? And the answer was sort of like, no, because we learned X, Y, and Z about our engine and, all this stuff we just talked about. So a really cool interview with them.
Yeah.
Next, they showed Crackdown 3, which was an incredible Terry Crews trailer. Terry Crews yelling and blowing stuff up.
It was a really good trailer, but I think the fact that this leaked, the delay on this leaked like 2 days before, the fact that they showed this here again, and they actually gave the release date, but this felt like there was no wind behind this game in the actual press conference room.
Yeah, it's sort of weird because I was surprised they announced the delay 2 days before. I almost feel like they wanted that to not be the story, and they wanted the trailer. Phil Spencer talked about that during the Giant Bomb interview, and was sort of like, we knew when we put out the release date we couldn't mess it up again, so we're giving them the time, and this is the release date. Sort of it's under his breath, or else.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy one, where they were like, this is the release date, we're not going to delay it, and then they delayed it.
Right. Hold up. Recording our episode. There we go. They showed off really briefly the Nier Automata Become as Gods edition. Comes out June 26th, $50 digital only, and supposedly has some sort of Xbox One X enhancements, but they haven't really said what that is. So
yeah, well, hey, it's a well-regarded game.
Yeah, and it contains all the DLC too. Yep. So I know some people are bummed out it's digital only, but I don't know. Talk to Limited Run Games. They might put one out, or Square might put one out later. Like, you never know. They showed off a trailer for Metro Exodus, which I haven't played any games in the series, so to me it mostly looks like a really great game that has really interesting story. But I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily know what's different between before and after. So
yeah, my note for this one is I should really play the first two.
Yeah, I keep thinking that, and
I have them both.
Yeah. They're probably part of Game Pass now, too, knowing Microsoft.
I literally have them installed, and I still haven't played them.
There's too many games. Next up, they showed Kingdom Hearts 3. This will also be the trailer you will see a couple more times during E3. They showed off a bunch of new worlds, Tangled, Frozen. They showed off some Wreck-It Ralph stuff, sort of some Monsters, Inc. stuff, the worlds they've been teasing for a while.
The things we learned from this is Square really likes Elsa.
Yes, Square really, really likes Elsa, which is odd.
Which weird moment to put in a plug for, but if for those of you who have not, well, obviously you haven't listened to this month's ODNF, but I'm going to announce it right now because it's hashtag related. Next month's ODNF is Frozen, because I have never seen Frozen.
I have a child, so I see it around once a day. So I'm very excited to listen to Old Dog New Flicks. They again reiterated the January 29th, 2019 release date. I added ... probably.
Yep, we'll see.
I still have it pre-ordered. I've been sitting pre-ordered on Amazon for 4 years.
I mean, the thing with me with this is, like, I love the Kingdom Hearts games. The story is bat crazy, but I still absolutely love it. And it's one of those moments where it's like, I kind of really want to deep dive into this, but I'm also terrified because of how long it's been since I played the last two and the 17 games that have come out between now and then.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit during the PS4 one, but someone, I wish I could credit them and I don't remember who it is. Someone mentioned that they put pressure on Square Enix about that, and they said that there's going to be some sort of extended movie thing as an like an optional intro for people that either haven't played the other ones, or it's like you and I, has been a decade since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. Sort of like, hey man, who's Roxas again? Like what's that Ansem guy all about? So they're gonna do some of that. Yeah, I've got Anthem on the brain now. But yeah, they're gonna be doing something about that. They showed off Sea of Thieves. Showed off sort of a cute little trailer that announced Cursed Sails and Forsaken Souls. Looks like two sort of I'll call them content packs because they don't seem like they're gonna be for paid DLC.
Nope.
But that it's more Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, my note for here was Volcano ? Is that Galadriel ? Because that lady sounded like Galadriel.
Yeah. Yeah, that still seems good, and it's nice to see that Rare is getting more time on E3 stage to not only remind people that Sea of Thieves is on Game Pass and you can play it right now, but they haven't abandoned it, which I think a lot of people might need to hear.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing you can hear about that stuff is hearing that. Granted, I didn't really want to see them come up and talk on the stage about it, but they got a couple of minutes. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah,
and it's like, yes, we are still working on new stuff.
Yeah,
we are working on additional stuff for the game.
Yeah, don't forget about Sea of Thieves because we haven't.
Yep.
Yeah. They showed off Battlefield 5 just a little bit. They focused on more of the story stuff and potentially some of the. I don't know if it's like the single player stuff or it's some of the stuff they did in Battlefield 1 with like the stories.
It's war stories. They've pretty much confirmed that with 5 they are going ahead with war stories rather than a single player campaign.
Good.
And this is the one that they showed at the Microsoft press conference was the ladies' war story.
Yeah. That looks super cool.
Yeah, I love the war stories in Battlefield 1, so I will take these anytime. Over one 8-hour campaign where it's just crazy, I'll take these war stories where it's a punch in the heart at like the end of 3 of them.
Right. They showed off Forza Horizon 4, which I just have written, yes.
Yeah, your first note is yes. My first note is that Wales?
Yeah, it takes place in Britain this time. Which I have seen some people be grumbly about it online, but hey, we're getting more Forza Horizon, so shut up.
All the time.
Yeah. They focused on sort of two big things here. The first thing they focused was on how seasons change the game. They're going to have all 4 seasons in the base game this time. The interesting thing that they said in an interview after E3 was Playground mentioning that the seasons change every week, and they wanted to ensure that, winter doesn't feel the same every time it comes along. So challenges are going to be different for different seasons every time they come up. So they're trying to make it feel like there's progression week over week, and then it's not just like, oh, here comes winter, I'm not going to play this week because there's some BS challenges. They're going to change it week over week. That sounds cool. That sounds great.
I'm 100% in on this. I wasn't sure if I wanted another Forza Horizon after still trying to play Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah.
And it turns out I 100% do want another Forza Horizon.
Yep. And the other half of what they showed was they showed off a ton of multiplayer gameplay with what seemed to me more than what they did in Forza Horizon 3. It seems more like what Burnout Paradise did with their multiplayer, where it's like, we're going to go here, we're going to hit this jump, and we're all going to compete on how far we do on this stunt jump, or whatever Forza calls it.
Yep, like a party mode, essentially.
Yep, and that's awesome.
I'm fine with that, because that was the best part. The part that concerns me is the online multiplayer lobbies, very much similar to the very first Need for Speed that was released on the Xbox, the new generation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When they released the first Need for Speed on that, and it's all multiplayer, and you can be in the middle of a race, and if it's a close one, and a human player comes around the corner and then smashes you off the road, and you that's my main concern. How trolley will it get?
Right. It's coming out October 2nd, included day and date with Game Pass, which means I gotta get Game Pass for real before October 2nd. They surprisingly came out on stage and said, hey, we're starting or purchasing 5 studios. Which
this surprised me.
Number one is exactly what they needed to do. They start off by saying they founded a new studio called The Initiative. Didn't really have anything to announce, but was just saying, hey, we got a new studio making games.
Yep.
They purchased Undead Labs, which is the company that did the State of Decay games, which is a great pickup for them. State of Decay 2 is great and doing well for them so far. They picked up Playground Games, which
unsurprising to be completely
unsurprising. The thing that I wasn't expecting him to do was go on a stage and saying they're bringing their open world expertise to other games. And on my notes I wrote Fable ? Because that was the rumor from about 6 months ago, was that they were working on a new Fable game. So I'm wondering if that lends a little credence to them. They already own Turn 10, right?
Yes, Microsoft's pretty sure they bought Turn 10 after the first Forza game, I think.
Yeah, so they just made it a package deal.
Yep.
They surprisingly bought Ninja Theory?
I was very surprised by this. I don't know if it's the Ninja Theory or the Ninja Studio I would have gone for, but
right.
Good on them. Ninja Theory makes some really good games, so
yep. And Ninja Theory came out during E3 and said, like, what Microsoft wanted to do and why we had them purchase us is they wanted to just give us money to make more games that we're already playing. Like Hellblade was obviously a success, and they did that purely by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're saying they just want to give us cash and give us a safety net. And it's why would you say no?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And last but not least, the real surprise for me is they bought Compulsion Games, which is developing We Happy Few.
That was a big surprise for me, but in my opinion, that should have been the second thing they talked about.
Yeah.
Picking up Compulsion, because We Happy Few has been in early access now on Xbox alone for, almost a year? Was it last E3 or the E3 before that they really start to early access?
I think it was last year, yeah.
I'm sorry, but if out of all of them, there was announcements, Ninja Theory is the showstopper for them. So you end with Ninja Theory. You don't go from Ninja Theory, whoa, Compulsion Games, oh, big whoop.
Right. We Happy Few isn't even out, and the early access they had was a survival game.
And it was not received well.
No. So, good purchases by them.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of really solid studios, and that's lends credence to a lot of stuff we've been saying for the last 2-3 years, which is first-party studios, get the exclusives, get the stuff, and
don't even have to get the exclusives.
Put out the games.
Get the
True.
parties.
Yeah, put out the games on everything. Why am I saying exclusives? Crazy.
It's money for you no matter what console you put it on.
Yeah. They showed a trailer that I thought was pretty cool for PUBG. Talking about a bunch of maps and modes that are coming first to Xbox One, which, duh, because it's not on PS4. But
yes,
that's a PUBG trailer. More stuff's coming.
PUBG. If you know PUBG and you like PUBG, you know PUBG.
Yeah. They showed off the thing that I'm super excited for, which is the Tales of Vesperia definitive edition, which I
was not expecting to see this on a Microsoft stage.
Yeah. I'm really excited for that. Hold on. Because, number one, this is one of my favorite JRPGs of all time. Number two, it's getting a remaster. It looked incredible on the 360. It has so basically, Tales of Vesperia came out in Japan on PS3 only. There was another edition that had 2 new characters and a whole bunch of extra stuff. We never got it over here, so this is the first time we'll be seeing all the extra stuff along with it. People need to go buy it. It's coming out PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think I might have a disc-based version of that game in my 360 folder.
Yeah. I think. Tales of Vesperia is really great.
I've never played it.
And in your party, you have a dog that smokes a pipe.
Yep.
He fights. And for anyone that doesn't know what the Tales games are, Tales of Vesperia is one of the better ones because it's, instead of it being a turn-based RPG like a lot of JRPGs are, it's basically an action RPG brawling game, which is just really great. So winter of this year, it's coming out. No specific release date yet that I've seen, but go buy it and go play it. I will be.
Yeah, 100%.
The Division 2, they showed off a bunch of gameplay, showed parts of basically a mission where you're storming Air Force One, a crashed Air Force One. That looks good. That looks like we'll talk more about it during the Ubisoft one, but looks like more Division so far.
Holy hell, beautiful is my first note.
Yeah, really good looking.
Yeah.
I can see you trying to read your handwriting.
Yes, I am. Looks like more Division, which clearly I'm okay with. So
yeah.
I was in anyway as soon as they announced it, based on my experiences with the new one and Ubisoft's record when it comes to their community, which is something we'll talk about at their press conference.
Right.
But I'm in, so let's go. Let's give me some Division 2.
Yeah, May 15th, or March 15th, 2019 is when that comes out. They talked a little bit more about Game Pass, sort of had a Game Pass section. They announced this interesting thing called Fast Start. Excuse me. I almost called it Fresh Start. I don't know why. Called Fast Start, where they're leveraging their machine learning AI that Microsoft has somehow to launch Game Pass games twice as fast. And that's going to launch with the OS update that comes out later this month.
I can tell you exactly what that machine learning is.
Okay.
It's a flag that it puts in the file where the start of the game is, and it downloads that section first.
Okay, great.
That's dead simple.
That works.
I actually don't know if that's what it is, but my guess is that's exactly what it is.
Well, they were talking after the press conference too about how they're using that AI to work with other downloads, where it's sort of they're trying to aggregate the stuff that players play first when they're playing a game to figure out which blocks of data to download first over others. But I'm not sure if that's Fast Start or if that's other stuff. So
who knows?
Yeah. Games launching twice as fast, that's good news.
Yes.
They had a quick sizzle reel for stuff that's coming to Game Pass. Halo Master Chief Collection, Forza Horizon 4, day and date, Crackdown 3, day and date, Ashen, After Party, and Vermintide 2 were sort of their big upcoming or previously announced games. Right now, they put out The Division, The Elder Scrolls Online, the base game only, so you can sort of get started with that, none of the DLC, and then Fallout 4, like they mentioned earlier. And then they showed a big sizzle reel of games where I sort of hit the highlights here. Golf Club 2019, Below, which is very exciting. Super Meat Boy Forever, which I'm very excited about, Wargroove, and Dead Cells.
Yup.
Yeah.
My note here is, did I just see Dead Cells?
Yep. So I Game Pass looks like it continues to be like you're stealing games. It's so cheap, and they're putting so much stuff on there. It's ridiculous.
Piracy, but you pay for it.
Yeah. It's so crazy. They showed off a real quick, basically story trailer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That looks great. I don't think Square needs to push too hard on that, because are you in it for the third one or not? You sort of already know. They showed off Session, which I was surprised that
shocked.
EA wasn't showing Skate on their stage, but whoops, it wasn't Skate. It was a Kickstarted game, and it looks basically like Skate 4.
Yep. My note here is does it control like Skate? I'm in.
Yeah, I think if you can nail the controls on that, that's probably going to be pretty great.
Yeah.
They showed off a little trailer about Black Desert, the MMO. That's going to be in beta this fall. You already know if you're not going to be interested in it or not.
Yeah.
At the very least, you can try the character creator. Yeah.
Exact same note. Play the character customization, that's all you need.
Yeah. They showed off a really surprising trailer for Devil May Cry 5 that looks so good.
Mm-hmm. Guess what my note for this is? I really should play the last one. Yeah.
Devil May Cry was a really divisive game, but it's one that I really liked, and I'm glad that they are leaning more into the sort of art style that Devil May Cry, the most recent DMC did, instead of saying like, no, we're just gonna make the old ones again. I like that they did that.
I did like the tease at the end of the trailer, though, where it showed young Dante with long hair. I was thinking, oh, well, there's a nod right there.
Yeah. Who all's in this game? Crazy. It comes out spring 2019. They showed off Cuphead, The Last Course. Looks like there's a bunch more levels, a new character, and your sort of standard DLC. That's coming out in 2019. One of my games of the show, I'm glad they renamed this game. They showed off Tunic.
And this thing looks so beautiful.
It's this super cute Fox Zelda game. I'm
in on this 100%.
Yeah, me too. More Blue Sky games makes me happy. I had forgotten to write it down until Tunic. They called it a console launch exclusive, which is one of my favorite terms that they were using during this show.
Yeah, which basically means it's going to come out on PC day and date.
Yeah, and like PS4 and Switch 6 months later or something. They showed off Jump Force, which is a...
So yeah, let's really mention this.
Yeah.
I saw this trailer, and I don't mean to cut you off here.
No, you're fine.
I saw this trailer. My wife was upstairs in bed, and my literal note corresponds with what I actually yelled, which is F yes. Because the last time I played a Shonen Jump game, it was the 2D side-scrolling Smash Brothers game for the Nintendo DS.
Yeah, not even the 3DS.
One of the best games I have ever played in my life.
Yep.
Because it was so dumb and fun, and it's that stupid thing of playing on the school ground with all your little 9-year-old buddies. Like, well, you can be Tetsuo, but I'm Ichigo, and he's Goku, and he's Naruto.
Right.
So it becomes like that thing that you do when you're a kid. It's like all your stupid fantasies come to life.
Who would beat Batman or Superman?
Exactly.
Yep.
And then I saw Goku.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I saw the guy from One Piece, that's when the F yes irradiated through the house.
Right.
And my wife was like, "Is it something I should care about?" And I was like, "It's anime." She's like, "Okay."
It's an anime. It's a Japanese anime fighting game. It couldn't be any more of the opposite of what your wife likes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So that I don't think they put out a release date for that, but it almost seems like it's gonna be coming out next year.
Yep. And I am in. Day one, 100%.
Exciting.
I did like the Death Note tease at the end because I had the guy from Death Note on the city.
Yeah, Death Note is still a show I have not yet watched, so I don't know. I don't know what the names are, but I recognize that guy too. I'm like, hey, it's that guy. All right.
I am in 100%.
Another game that you're probably in 100% for is Dying Light 2.
Yep.
The thing that got me is it's written by Chris Avellone. I was like, oh, yeah, Chris
So, please elaborate on this, because I don't know that name.
He has written basically every great... I gotta ban another person, jeez. He has written every great PC RPG for probably about the last 15 years.
Okay.
I'll bring it up here to see if I can... he worked for Interplay, Obsidian, most...
Okay. So, yeah.
Fallout 2, Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Alpha Protocol, Fallout New Vegas, FTL, Wasteland 2, Pillars of Eternity, System Shock,
I'm in.
Prey.
100% I'm in. Oh,
So, I mean, like...
he's literally written everything great.
he's written everything you love.
My note for this, by the way, is I should really finish the first one.
Yeah. The thing that is really interesting to me is they showed off a bunch of gameplay. It all looks still really good. And they came out to specifically say, choices will have genuine consequences. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to do that in Dying Light. That could be pretty cool.
Yeah, the section they showed looked pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see if you jump into someone else's world, does their choices affect yours?
That's a great question. Mostly I'm excited to see more Dying Light 2. Or more Dying Light. Like, I didn't think we'd ever get a sequel, and I'm very happy to see that.
Yeah, me too.
They showed off a real quick teaser thing for Battletoads. Mostly, hey, that tunnel section is still hard, LOL, and Battletoads is coming back in 2019. I didn't see a studio associated with that, but I'm going to assume it's Rare, because that's Rare's game.
Yeah, my note for this one is new game, question mark? Wow.
Yeah, like, I still don't even know, is it a new game, or is it a remaster of the original? Like, I don't...
Who knows anymore?
Yeah, I'm not even entirely sure. They showed off Just Cause 4. This probably wasn't the best thing we saw of Just Cause 4 from E3 overall, but they showed
No, that goes to the Square press conference, I think.
Yeah. They showed off a little bit of it and then said, hey, it's coming December 4th, 2018. That got spoiled on Steam the other day, so...
Of course it
Whoops.
Why wouldn't it?
I don't know if you saw that, but basically when you fired up Steam, there was one of those, like, news stories on that window that pops out and says, Just Cause 4, December 4, pre-order now. Just like, oh.
Steam, about as trustworthy as Walmart of Canada.
Yeah, exactly. They showed a quick trailer for, I'm missing Gears Tactics, which I think is the first Gears game they talked about.
Yep. Well, no, they talked about Gears Pop first.
Yeah, which is... I don't like Funko Pop. So, this is not a game for me, but to be fair, they didn't show gameplay, so I'm not sure what it is.
True. If it turns out it's an SRPG with Funko Pops, it's going to be the hardest decision you've ever had to make in your life.
No, because I really hate Funko Pop. So I'll just...
You and my wife are literally the opposite people to
I
each
know.
other.
It's really great. They did show off Fallout Tactics, which does look like a cool sort of tactical isometric...
Gears Tactics.
Gears Tactics. What did I say? Fallout Tactics?
You said Fallout Tactics.
That was another game. I don't know if that game was ever good. Yeah, but they showed that. They didn't show a ton about that, but what they showed I thought looked... that looks like a tactics game that could work pretty well in that universe.
Yeah. My note for this one is a Gears game for Boston at last.
Yep. glad to think you're thinking of me. And then they showed Gears of War 5, which, like Gears 4, they just called it Gears 5 on stage. Get to play as Kate this time, which is really great because I think she's a cool character. Without spoiling the end of Gears 4, it was really neat to show them pick up in the trailer on E3 from like the last minute of Gears 4, which is pretty cool. And I think me watching the trailer for Gears 5 was sort of like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for another Gears game.
Yeah, me too. Like, as soon as I saw that trailer, I was interested, and then I saw as you said, the mentions basically directly to the ending of 4. So, yep, okay, I'm in. Let's go.
Coming in 2019, Game Pass stay and date. So, good God, get Game Pass. Yeah. They came out to talk a little bit about 2 technology initiatives that they had before they showed their last trailer. They say they're working on a streaming service. No name, no date, none of that stuff. But their direct quote was console quality gaming on any device. They want to focus on Xbox One, PC, and phones. It was a lot of buzzword stuff, which makes sense because they're not launching. It's not like, it's out today. But it was interesting to see them come up on stage and say, like, look, here's the technology we're working on. We have a ton of hurdles to get over for game streaming, but we're working on it, and we're trying to make it happen. Yeah. And then I think to allay some of fears that people might have, they say, don't worry, we're definitely working on the next Xbox, but that's also, a ways out. But don't worry, we're not just going to go streaming. We're also working on another piece of hardware. So, and then as... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then they essentially used the game, and I don't think I'm being hyperbolic here when I say this, but they ended the show with the game that stole the show from everything. Nothing else mattered at the end of this E3 except for this one game.
Yeah, I kind of like that they cut Phil Spencer off by interrupting him with the trailer, sort of like...
he's like, hi, thanks for showing up, everybody, have a good eat, and then his mic cuts.
Yeah, and then the whole stage goes crazy. Couple of things. I really liked that they just dumped hundreds of Witcher 3 keys in the trailer.
Yep, so good.
And if you look online, they left a really long message to CD Projekt Red fans in their trailer again. It's like a couple pages worth of text. It's really good. They show off Cyberpunk 2077, which... it's just such a good trailer. This game looks so good.
It is. My note for this one is I should really play The Witcher.
You could have snagged one of those Witcher 3 keys.
I owned them both. I own 2 and 3.
3 is so good.
I know.
I don't know what else to say about this trailer other than it just looks really friggin' good. Like I didn't like Witcher 1 or 2 when I tried them out. I loved Witcher 3 and dove really deep into that. And for me to see that CD Projekt Red is taking on what is the cyberpunk genre, which I really enjoy, and seeming to do it pretty well, that is checking a lot of boxes.
Yep, so many mohawks.
Yeah, so many digital mohawks.
Yep, that trailer was so great. It did so much. It built the world in like 2 minutes flat, and I immediately felt like I knew what this game was about.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, and after the show, because I don't think we have it in anything else here, after the show they said that it's a first-person shooter, which I think is great.
Yep.
And
good on them for tackling a different genre.
Yeah. And someone, I think it was Daniel Dwyer that said on... Twitter, it's not a third-person shooter because you're not swinging a sword in a field. But they also said that during a lot of conversations, you'll see your character and other characters in third person. So it's not just like, here, make a character, spend 2 hours in the character creator, and then you never see him again. Like, you just see the arm and the hand.
Like Deus Ex.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a great way to finish the show. What did you think about Microsoft's press conference?
I think it was a really good showing. I don't think they had enough coming out this year kind of things.
Sure.
It felt very much like we're sorry, these things are all down, end of this year, early next year.
February 26th, 2019.
Let me tell you about
that day is going to suck.
The end of January and February is just going to be insane.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start a second mortgage just for February 26th.
But I think they had an amazing show. It was a whole bunch of games. They announced a lot of good stuff. And again, this isn't an E3 that turns the market around. We can't turn the market around on a dime. It's not that simple. But they're doing what Sony did 6 years ago, and they're laying the groundwork for really solid future stuff. So good on them is what I think.
Yeah, I think for me, this is my conference of the show. I think
Yep.
they came out, they did exactly what they said. They showed 50 games, a ton of exclusives, which is not great, but it's something the platform needs right now. They purchased a bunch of companies or started a bunch of them. They showed Gears. They showed all the trailers you wanted them to, and they just kind of shut up and put up, which we've been saying for a while. It's like, just roll trailers and just show me the reason why I should be happy to have an Xbox One. And they showed 50 of them, basically.
Yeah, they also showed at least 25 of them, where the reason why I'm happy I have an X.
Yeah, exactly. And I think me coming out of Microsoft's press conference from 2018 says, I need to have Game Pass for all of these games that I want to play day and date, that maybe necessarily I can't afford in February $300 worth of Xbox games, but I can spend $10 and then potentially play 10 great games that are coming out on February 26th, and all day and date for just that $10. Like, it's such a no-brainer if you have the platform at this point. And I think them coming out of the show showed me even more. You have to get Game Pass.
Yep. I mean, I'm really glad I have it now, and especially with Sea of Thieves, that's a prime example. A lot of people were disappointed they paid the $60. Then don't. Pay the $10, and then have everything else at your fingertips as well at the same time.
Yep. Oh, man, so good. Let's move on next to our next one, Bethesda.
I'm sorry.
This is a ride.
I don't know his name, but the head of Bethesda Studios, whatever his name is, he kind of stole the show a little bit from me. Yeah. No, I didn't. Boston froze.
Come back, Moon.
Boston froze, not me. Because
we've been having technical difficulties all day.
See, he's back now.
There he goes. Moon Pier's back.
And don't be blaming that on me. It's your fault.
No, I'm not blaming on you. It's just technical difficulties all day. Anyways, as you were saying,
I heard everything you were saying, by the way, just so you know.
Skype.
Yes. The head of Bethesda Studios, I think he kind of stole this show.
Pete Hines?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because his immediate launch on this thing was, well, you've got the first show note of the intro to the thing, so you go ahead and let's talk about that.
They showed a much different stage show this year. They had a giant screen. They had people on all sides of it. I really liked the studio tour at the beginning. They showed, people that were cooks and answering the phones and making sound effects. And a lot of people thought that was cheesy, but I
like it.
I think it's especially important to remind certain jerks on the internet that people make these games, and like, it's not just programmers and engineers and sound guys, it's also like
the catering.
Yeah, like the people who clean the offices, like they also work for Bethesda. It's not just the dude who made the dog in that one game.
Todd Howard is not the only employee they have.
Yeah, exactly. I did really like Pete Hines this year. Their theme this year is Create. Starting off the show, they showed Rage 2, announced a few weeks ago, direct quote, "Thanks to our friends at Walmart Canada."
Who are known for their reasonably low prices and ability to keep a secret.
Yeah, which is, I mean, 2 thumbs up, like, just get out there and just talk about it and just just say, like, you already knew what this is, we were going to surprise you, but hey man, here it is. Also, Andrew WK is here live, and I thought they were going to have him come live and play that song and play a trailer behind it, but no, it was just, he comes out, he plays the song, and then literally says goodbye and marches backstage, and this features probably some of my favorite crowd shots of E3, which is just a lot of people being like, oh my god, he's playing the full song. Like, I thought we were going to see trailers. Oh, he's still on stage. I don't know who this is.
Yep. It's not the 90s anymore, folks.
Yeah. Man, I love Andrew
WK.
2000s,
whatever.
He's so good. They showed a bunch of gameplay for Rage 2. They showed sort of a gameplay trailer. Wasn't really a mission. It was just sort of a bunch of odds
general gameplay.
Yeah, like a bunch of bits from the game. They showed a fun little infomercial in the middle that has that singing head of one of the monsters, which I thought was a great joke. And then, oh, whoops, that's actually the collector's edition.
Yep.
So that was pretty all right. I think Rage 2 looks good. That looks fun.
That was my big takeaway from this. Was I wasn't too sure what to expect from it. I never played Rage 1, despite hearing positive things from a lot of different places.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But it's by the Avalanche crew who made Mad Max.
Yep.
And it's a first-person shooter, and it looks really, really quick.
Yep.
And if you want to stick Mad Max on steroids and acid and then give that to me, I'm fine with that.
And it reminded me a little bit of Bulletstorm too, like where enemies flying and you're using powers and stuff. That it seems like it's this mishmash of Borderlands, sort of the style and the enemies with Mad Max and movement and driving cars, and then Bulletstorm. Like it's combining a lot of stuff that I like, and it looks fast and it looks really good. So I'm keeping my eye out on this one.
Yeah,
this looks cool. It's coming out spring 2019. Next up, they showed Elder Scrolls Legends, which is a game I forgot about. Sorry. Coming out later this year, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. They're basically relaunching. It looks like they're doing the same thing Gwent is doing, where they said, all right, we put it out, we learned a lot, we're going to blow all that away and start back over. So they say that if you want to download it now and hook it up with your BethesdaNet account, that progress will carry over to the console versions later. So that's cool.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
They showed off Elder Scrolls Online. That's something that I know very, very little about, but I know that Bethesda is supporting it to an incredible degree. And looks like there's...
From what I understand, like, this game came out of the gates as the biggest failure ever, and now it's doing gangbusters for them, so... Good on them. Yeah,
a lot of people in the Discord server there say they're really enjoying it, and a bunch of people recommended trying out the base game that's on Game Pass, because if you like Skyrim, it's a lot of that. And you'll occasionally run into other people. Looks like they were showing off another expansion, but I sort of don't know if that's a new one or one that just came out, so find your Elder Scrolls Online expert and go listen to them. They showed off the game that I thought was going to be Doom 2, but it's called Doom Eternal.
Which is that basically just Doom 2?
I don't know. Doom 2 was called Doom 2 Hell on Earth, which is a really great reference. They said, you want to see Hell on Earth? Well, we just teased it, which is really great. They understandably didn't show off a lot of details. They're going to show it at QuakeCon in August. Which makes sense. That they always show that stuff at Doom and Quake are always at QuakeCon, so
it's the Bethesda event. So
it's not the
it's like
id
Captivate.
event.
Is Capcom going to be a Captivate? What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. They showed off Quake Champions. They showed off a little bit of gameplay, some of the classes, some of the characters. They're opening up a trial of the free-to-play version, which I think has ended by the time this episode comes out, but if you grabbed
I think so.
Yeah, if you grab the trial before it closes, you can keep playing the trial after the trial ends, which doesn't make any sense. But that gameplay trailer looked okay. That looked like a lot of Quake 3 with classes.
Yeah, it did. And I've never played a Quake game, so I literally didn't care less.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that would be the first one to play. I won't say to play Quake Online, because that's Quake 3 for me is like the pinnacle of where that franchise was, and it's free. So, then I have written down Prey. Hey, they showed more Prey. Hey, Prey's on stage. They announced that there's a new update available now. Added.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at your notes here. It's great.
Yeah, they added 3 new things to the base game for free. They added a story difficulty, which in-game it says...
That game needed.
Yes. It's even easier than easy. In-game it says survival is all but guaranteed. So it's basically like, hey, you're going to be pretty much invulnerable. They added New Game Plus, which I will talk about on TVGP next week, because I'm knee-deep in that thing right now. And then they added Survival, which is part of the next DLC we'll talk about, and it's basically making the game harder in different ways if people want to do that. It's optional for anyone that's starting the game. And then they announced Prey Moon Crash, which is available now, and they turned Prey into a roguelike. God, it's so good. Oh, God.
I know you have already sunk a bunch of time into this.
I've been playing it basically nonstop.
So yay, basically.
Yeah, it's... I cannot wait to talk more about this on the show next week. And Moon, you said you already picked it up and haven't had a chance to play it, right? Yet?
Yes, that is correct.
So Moon and I will be talking about it in some form or fashion. I don't know if we'll do a special series about it, just a deep dive, or if we'll just talk about it on the show proper. But we'll let you know. But they turned Prey into a roguelike, and it's really good. They also announced Prey Typhon Hunter, which is a humans versus mimics multiplayer thing, as far as I could understand. That's coming later this year.
The gist I got from this is it's prop hunt.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Where a bunch of mimics go and hide as props, and then the humans have to go figure out where the mimics are.
Oh, God, that sounds so
good. Prey but prop hunt sounds good to me.
Yeah. And there's actually even more stuff coming later this year if you own... So there's now 2 versions of Prey out right now. There's sort of regular Prey and then Moon Crash for the 2 halves of it. They also put out a Prey... It's like a complete edition or something like that. That's only, I think, $30 or $40. So it's cheaper than buying the 2 of them together. So if you own Moon Crash or the complete edition, they're just going to start putting out more DLC throughout the year. So, that's really great. Prey is so good. Talked about Wolfenstein 2. They're going to put out DLC called Wolfenstein Youngblood, which jumps ahead in time to the 80s with BJ's twin daughters. And it is playable as co-op.
This looks so good.
That looks really good. As someone who didn't super enjoy Wolfenstein 2, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
They also announced Prey VR, which I don't think has a final title right now.
No.
You can play the competitive stuff in VR, that Typhon Hunt, but they also announced a single-player mode where you and some other TranStar employees solve puzzles. So... I really wish I had a VR setup for that.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. And then they announced Wolfenstein Cyberpilot. It's a VR game where you're a hacker that takes over Nazi robots. And that also sounds really great.
And I'm not going to mention it here on the show, but if you get the chance and you haven't seen the press conference, specifically watch Pete Hines talk after that section.
About his famous statement about Nazis. He reiterates it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good.
They then say, we know why you're here. I think it's to see where we're putting Skyrim next. And they have a trailer for
I was like, this is great.
Skyrim Very Special Edition coming out for Alexa, Motorola pagers, Samsung smart refrigerators, and Etch-a-Sketch. I thought that was a really great joke, and I thought it got even funnier because Skyrim is actually available for Alexa right now.
Yep.
So that's really great. I eat all the cheese. That was a really... It's nice to see Bethesda...
poke fun at themselves.
Yeah, like willing to have a little bit of fun with, we know you want another Elder Scrolls, so here's Skyrim on the Switch.
Yep. It prints their money.
Yeah. We
do not get the right to complain because people keep buying it.
Yep, and it funds stupid stuff like Prey.
And Skyrim on Alexa, which is so good.
Yeah. They, of course, came out to show Fallout 76. They showed a ton of stuff. Talking about Vault 76, which was built to celebrate the country's 300th anniversary. I think that's Ron Perlman in the intro, as the president, which is great to have him back in another Fallout intro.
Yep.
they came out up front and said very plainly, Fallout 76 is entirely online. Period.
And I was still in at this point.
Yep.
I was still in after this press conference. When the press conference is over and he did post-press conference interviews, I am out.
Okay. I'll tell you the point where I tapped out of this one. He says, of course you can play it solo. Great. I like that. You'll be in a world with dozens, not hundreds or thousands of people. So,
great.
Still loving that. I was sold all the way up until this point, until you ran across another player in the wilderness and they totally blew you up. And I said,
yep.
Yeah, now I'm out. I don't want that. Thankfully, they came out after the press conference and said, yes, there will be private servers ways after launch. So
that might be when I'm back in.
Yeah, that might be when I pick it up, because
I'm not playing this thing on public.
Because I would play it co-op with you, Moon. That would be fun. Mm-hmm. Like, I would play Fallout co-op with my wife, and we could just explore the wasteland. That would be a great time. I don't want to run up on Bong Blaster 420 and have him on day one drop a nuke on me and then say goodbye. That's not. I'm excited that they're trying something different, and I'm excited that people are excited about this.
I'm excited that the work they seem to have done to that engine.
Yeah, the engine looks really great. Hopefully it's way more stable. It's interesting. You can build your bases wherever you want, move the bases wherever you want to. Dedicated servers. They're going to have a beta, which stands for something funny that I thought was pretty clever. They said they have a beta because, quote, I read on the internet our games have a few bugs, end quote.
Yep.
Which is really great.
A good quote. Bethesda bringing out the snark themselves this year.
Yeah. They did, of course, announce a collector's edition, has a map of the world that glows in the dark, figures you put on the map, and a fully functioning wearable power armor helmet that has a headlamp and voice modulator.
And that was cool, but that is nowhere near as cool as the other thing.
What's the other thing?
The other thing is they basically put a figure, build it set together where you can build the Pip-Boy from individual parts, and it's
that's
the
cool.
Right size. It was posted in our Discords.
Okay, I must have missed that. That's pretty cool.
Literally, it's like the Build a Gundam things, except it's build yourself a Pip-Boy.
That's pretty cool. Coming out November 14th, 2018. So,
sure. They did the usual trick.
Yeah, like I really wanted to be excited about this game, and I really wanted to be in it. The idea that there is public, not opt-in PvP is an absolute deal breaker for me.
Yep, same for me.
So.
I was actually kind of okay with it at that point, because it was like, okay, 4 friends, we could probably handle stuff. Me, my wife, Rob, T-Bomb, whoever else, anybody else who wants to join.
Roll deep with the community.
Exactly. It sounds so gross.
Yeah.
But that could be manageable. And then they came out after the fact with the interviews and said, no NPCs except for robots.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So no humans on the planet except for other human players.
Yeah.
No NPCs at all except for robots. And what kind of story are we talking about you can do in quests if there is no NPCs in a Fallout game?
Yeah, like all that stuff is fine, and I like that they're trying something different. I know there have been a lot of people being like, oh, nobody will be happy unless it's a sequel to Fallout 2 and it's 2D. That's not even it. I liked 3 a lot, and I would like New Vegas if I could ever find time to play it, and 4 was fine but didn't really click with me. This really isn't what I want. This would be like if you announced this for Dragon Age. I'd be like, no, that's not what I want out of that series. You can keep evolving it, and you can keep working on new stuff with it, but this really isn't what I want.
For me, it's just a case of I have no problems with this game. I have no problems with them making this game. I have got no problems at all with them putting this game out, or the fact that they used the Fallout name to do it. I have no issues with that at all. If this is your jam, go, enjoy, have fun.
Yep.
From the outset, this does not sound like my bag.
Yep. And
that's fine.
I think that's a really important point, that we're not going to be the guys that are going to come out and say, burn Bethesda to the ground because they used the Fallout name. It's okay for something to not be for us. And this is not for us for now I'm finding out a number of reasons.
Yep.
They did announce Fallout Shelter's third anniversary. And because that guy said it, it's coming out on Switch, was a direct quote. Came out on PS4 and Switch. And I've been playing it on PS4 and it works just fine. So probably a little better on Switch because you have the touch screen.
Yes, the controls with that game is not great.
Yeah, it's fine, but not touchscreen. And then they announced The Elder Scrolls Blades. It's a first-person RPG on mobile devices with console-quality graphics.
This looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't have a phone that could run this.
Yeah, I have an iPhone 8, and I'm almost worried that I don't either. This is really interesting. Played in portrait or landscape, because one of the examples they gave you is, if you're playing something in
Meeting
landscape
mode.
in a meeting, then people know what you're up to. One thing I thought was interesting is they're going to make it playable on pretty much everything, including VR, and progress carries over between versions.
That's a really cool.
Yeah.
That's a really cool thing. That might be a very good thing for me, where it's like, oh, I just want something light. I'm gonna go play this on my Xbox.
Yeah. I'm on the bus for a little bit. Maybe I'll just fire it up.
Invariably bash out a few daily quests.
Yeah.
Put it down and come back to it a couple of days later.
Yeah. This fall, it's coming out this fall for free, and pre-order is live now. Not really. I wrote pre-order, but it's like pre-registration. Which I signed up for a Bethesda Net account to do, and that was pretty easy. So I'm curious about that because I'm sort of wondering how it's going to control on the phone. It'll be fine on consoles, but it seems interesting. It seems like it could be something that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then he
definitely piqued my interest at least.
Yeah. And then he wanted to talk about what we have coming in the future. They're working on an all-new single-player game. That's an all-new IP called Starfield.
And all new. Oh my, Moon is pre-ordering this as soon as it's available.
Yeah, like if they don't screw this one up, Starfield could be really cool.
We didn't even see anything to do with it, but it's a brand new single-player game from Bethesda, and it's set in space, and sci-fi is my jam. I am in.
You literally just said everything I was going to say, so yes, Starfield. I think that's one to me, like Anthem. That's a game I'm interested in seeing a lot more of and trying to figure out, where it lands on the spectrum of me caring. But that could be really cool.
My favorite thing is speaking with my wife about E3. It's hilarious because she's like, Fallout 76. We had this huge debate, and I was like, did some more research into it, and that's when I was like, yeah, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
No NPCs, nothing like that. I'm out. And she was already out. I don't know if she knows about Starfield yet, and I'm not going to tell her.
Yeah, wait until next E3 maybe.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, they said, well, we want to talk to you about the one you keep asking about, and they just showed the title screen for the Elder Scrolls 6.
Yep.
So
I have no idea what land that's in, but they were playing the Skyrim music, so
yeah.
I can't help but think Skyrim too.
I don't know. To me, it seems so early, especially when they were showing some of the Blades stuff, that I know pre-orders are up now because, of course, they are, because it's something that was shown at E3. I don't expect this one I'm going to say for at least 4 years, and I almost think it's going to be a cross-gen game.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Doom 2 next year.
Yep.
Starfield the year after.
Yep.
ESO 6 the year after that.
Yeah. At the earliest, because I think if especially if you're a console manufacturer, you look at Bethesda and you're like, okay, how can you help us sell more new consoles? Like, we need a big game for our new platforms. The sequel to Skyrim, like the real sequel to Skyrim, could really be that game.
Yep.
Also includes Skyrim 5 remastered for your PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
You know it's going to happen.
Yeah. And that's how they wrapped up
from now on.
Bethesda's conference. What did you think about this one?
I liked it, and I think a lot of stuff was expected, kind of again, same as a couple of press conferences coming up.
Yeah.
Same as EA. It was like very much expected, especially after Rage 2 leaks.
Yep.
If that doesn't leak, great. Prey was the big steal away from me here.
Yeah.
The roguelike DLC, I'm in 100%. Like I said, Fallout, I was in. Then posting interviews, I was out.
Yeah.
So
It's a roller coaster.
it's you do the okie dokie and you turn around. I don't know overall how I feel about them. At the time, I thought it was a really good show.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking more along the lines of, well, how much of their stuff am I actually going to play this year?
Yeah.
Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe Rage 2 and Prey.
Yeah, I think they had a good showing. I think, to me, Bethesda and EA both had on the surface level, they had about the same show. We're just, all right, here's the stuff we're going to put out. But I think that self-deprecating humor is what set it above for me. And at the very least, I liked a Prey developer putting a not a mimic post-it note on another person. I thought that was really good.
Yep.
So 2 thumbs up for Bethesda. Not my favorite of the show, but way more entertaining than it had any right to be.
Yeah, I just love the fact that they brought the snark themselves.
Yeah.
Like last year they were kind of super serious, and this year they were just more along the lines of, you know what, we're just going to get hate anyway, so we might as well just get this over and done with.
So, talking about crazy antics, Devolver Digital's was next.
Yeah. Go watch it. It's like 20 minutes, folks. It's not that long.
It's really great. It is nonsensical in the best. The way I always explain it is like it's like a fever dream art show. Like it's like a performance piece that's making fun of you while selling you games. It's really an incredible thing to see. They showed off 3 games and 1 product. They showed off Scum, which they called Supermax Open World Survival. But that was...
It looks like Battle Royale.
Yeah, but it was kind of mostly just like a CG trailer. And it very much seems like Battle Royale, but sort of... This isn't me getting down on the game, but sort of what I expect Devolver Digital to come out with is what makes this game different from everything else, because that's what Devolver Digital published games are.
Yeah.
And we didn't really see that. They also showed off Lootbox Coin, available at lootboxcoin.com until it's sold out in literally 15 minutes for $130 a pop, by the way.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Yeah.
And was it one of those coins that she had?
Yes.
I did not expect this to be a real thing.
And the price did change over time. Like, it was really pretty crazy. That was probably one of my favorite sequences from the show, was just the lady they had on stage going ham about loot boxes and Bitcoin.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. They also show off My Friend Pedro.
I'm 100% in.
Yeah, like, I sort of don't know how to explain this game. I wrote down a bullet ballet side-scrolling shooting thing.
I saw someone on Twitter liken it to basically being a side-scrolling Deadpool game.
Sure. Yeah, I saw somebody say it was like a 2D Max Payne game, sort of.
Yep, that's a good call as well.
Yeah, it looks really fun. It looks like just a spinning, twirling, shooting, sort of puzzly game with like a talking banana. Coming out Switch and PC in 2019. That looks really cool. That's why I wanted to watch Devolver Digital, just for them to come out and say, like, here's a crazy game you've never heard of, but it looks completely awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, they also announced the remake of Metal Wolf Chaos XD, hashtag Mech America Great Again. One of From Software's most infamous games, mostly because it's not good.
I saw the ancient trailer for this. All I could think about was the ending of Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah. I'm glad that they're keeping the voice acting in this, because it's very like Resident Evil 1 era voice acting. Okay. And it's charming for that. I was really disappointed that they didn't show off the Advanced Gungeons and Dragons expansion for Enter the Gungeon.
Oh, Dragons, DRAGUNS.
Yes, the AD&D expansion. But thankfully, one of the developers came on the subreddit and was like, hey, we didn't show it at the show because we're actually working on it right now because it's going to be out in a couple weeks. And I was like, oh, well, okay. That makes me feel...
That's fine. Understandable.
Yeah. I think it probably goes without saying that both Moon and I really enjoyed this press conference.
Yes.
It's our kind of crazy and stupid.
Yeah, and it's the fact that they take... Like, they poke fun at everything.
Yeah.
Gamers' stupidity,
themselves,
developers' greed, everything
indie
like
games.
That. They did such a good job of just making fun of this industry at large that everybody takes so seriously.
Yep.
And they just don't seem to care about anything.
Like the kid in the background that's totally actually not playing a game.
Yes, the stage show demo player or whatever his title was.
Like there isn't even a game on screen. Ah, it's so good. Let's move on next to one of our the smaller ones from a bigger publisher, Square Enix. Start off with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Showed off a bit of gameplay, which I wrote down here sort of positively and negatively. Looks like the third Tomb Raider game. You know.
Yep. You know if you're in, you know.
I'm 100% into it, but I think what they showed, if you don't like the Tomb Raider reboot, they showed enough for you to say like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna pick this one up either.
Yeah. I should really play the second one of these. I
really enjoyed the second one. It had like a little bit of open world, but not a ton. It was really good. I also wrote down, does Keith David narrate all these trailers?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does.
It seems Square did a deal with Keith David.
Awesome.
Good choice.
Yeah. They showed off Final Fantasy XIV's Stormblood Under the Moonlight patch, which...
Final Fantasy XIV at this point. I just smile and nod.
Yeah, it looks good. They're putting more Final Fantasy Tactics stuff in there. That's awesome. They also showed coming summer 2018 a Monster Hunter World crossover, which looks super cool.
I don't know what it was about Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but all of a sudden Japan is obsessed with these cross things.
Put more stuff in other stuff. I like it.
Yep.
They showed off a little bit more of the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit, and this is where they talked about this hooking into the story of Life is Strange 2, which I sort of wished that they had done during the Microsoft one where people would have seen it. But again, on the...
that was not nice.
No one's watching the Square Enix one, especially after people put out the review of it. But again, coming out free on the 26th. Reminder, play it on your platform of choice. That way, if anything carries over to the second one, you won't have to play through this again. It's not going to be that long.
True.
Dragon Quest XI put out a trailer I really liked, which was very much like heroism and swords, and it's very serious. And then, whoops, here are the Dragon Quest monsters, still kind of goofy and dumb.
Yep, I literally have never played a Dragon Quest game, so okay. My notes for this were literally like, it looks like more Dragon Quest, not that I know what that is.
I think that's the thing I love about Dragon Quest, is all of the games are more Dragon Quest, and there's something comforting about that. It's going to be the same quality, and it's going to be about the same stuff as usual, and that's great. They showed Babylon's Fall, which they didn't show too much of, but Platinum Games is making another game, and it's coming out in 2019, so that's about all I need to know.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. My note here says, looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah, what they showed looks really good, but, I mean, it's Platinum, so as long as it's good Platinum and not, licensed games Platinum. Yeah. Showed off a quick trailer, of course, for Nier Automata Become as Gods Edition. Already talked about that. Showed off a quick trailer for Octopath Traveler, which is actually just coming out in July, so they didn't push that too hard, but man, that game's...
It still appeared on two different things, didn't it? It appeared on Square's and Nintendo's.
Yeah, quick blurb on Nintendo's one, but man, that game's still looking good. There's a demo out now where you can play it for
save progress. Carries
yeah,
on.
you play it for a set amount of time, and then it carries over onto onto the full version. Sorry, I'm getting like blown up on text here. Showed off Just Cause 4. They really focused this time on the extreme weather, especially the tornado.
I mean, as soon as I saw this stuff, I mean, I was already in anyway. It's Just Cause 4. I've already, like, fully gamer scored every single Just Cause game, so clearly I like these games. And Mad Max 2. Or 1, I should say. But yeah, I mean, and those tornadoes and that tech, and it looks like they've redone the engine again.
Yep.
And that engine was already incredible for 3, so I'll take it.
They showed The Quiet Man, which is an FMV / in-engine game that I don't know much about, but that seems like something that's really up our alley, so they said they're going to talk more about it in August. I'm going to keep my eye on that because I think that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about it, but something about that trailer really kind of grabbed me. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this thing. Whatever it is, I'll keep my eye on it.
And they wrapped it out with Kingdom Hearts 3, basically the Xbox trailer with a little bit more new footage at the end.
Yep.
And that was it. That was a pretty fast press conference, and maybe could have just put out a YouTube video about that one.
It's not the first or the last time, we will say that.
Next up was Limited Run. We're just going to cover a couple of games here. They talked about almost 20 games on stage. They had a pretty charming press conference, too. It very much looked like a PS1 game on stage, with them being projected onto pretty crappy sprites.
Yep.
But a lot of stuff they talked about are games that are already out and sort of makes sense for Limited Run to put out. They had three larger announcements that I thought were interesting. Golf Story, they're going to put out a physical edition of that. They're going to port Dust and Elysian Tale to Switch, and put out a physical edition of that, which is really great. You should go play Dust. And they announced their first localization project, which is the House in Fata Morgana, which is supposed to be an amazing horror visual novel, like a Victorian murder mystery horror game. And it seems like they're going to be localizing a bunch of stuff that's never actually come out over here before. There's sort of, I get the impression there's like 3 things together with it, and they're bringing all the stuff over and localizing all of it.
Good for them. Yeah,
I'm excited to see them doing more stuff. You know, they weren't just putting out games. There's a lot of stuff they were doing for, you know, like with Dust, they're porting it to another platform, and they're helping developers bring it to more platforms in general. It's nice to see them continue to expand and continue to do really great stuff. 2 thumbs up for them. All right, here, let's talk about another big publisher here, Ubisoft. They, of course...
I love this routine.
Yeah, they opened with another
it's so
Just
dumb
Dance.
And so stupid.
And
but it's so good.
It's a dancing panda with a bunch of people, and they're playing I'm Still Standing on horns. Like, it's bright and dumb, and I love it. And I will never stop loving them opening the show with Just Dance.
Yep, because you know what's going to happen, and rather than save it till last, get it out the way first.
Yep.
Great. Can you read your show note for me?
Yes, it's coming out on the Wii. No, that's not a joke.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you can still play it with a Wiimote. Yep. Next up, they sort of tossed out one of their heavy hitters pretty early. They showed Beyond Good and Evil 2, a incredible-looking CG trailer, which I forgot...
But to be honest... That's pretty much all we got, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I sort of forgot this was a prequel, so when they show Evil Jade at the end, I was like, okay, cool, this is great. They showed a little bit of gameplay footage while they were talking about the Space Monkey program. Joseph Gordon-Levitt came out on stage to talk about his, I'll put it nicely and call it a grifting scheme. Remember, kids, don't do spec work. If you're going to do artistic work, get paid for it. Space Monkey program will not pay you. They claim they pay you. You're not really going to get paid. So that's a pretty crappy program on top of a game that looks pretty cool. The gameplay they showed...
My notes for this are insane.
Yeah.
Like, my notes for this are Jade, question mark. I've never played Beyond Good and Evil, so I don't know who that is.
She's the main character of the second one. Her and that cook guy are the two main characters.
Okay. Another CG trailer. Screenshots. Does this game even exist? Pre-alpha. Crowdsourced development? Nope, never mind. Just crowdsourcing assets.
Yeah. I was happy they showed a little bit of gameplay off, but it was very clearly marked as pre-alpha, and I mean, it seems like they're making progress, but it's another year where there's another CG trailer. So, I didn't like Beyond Good and Evil 1. I know that's sacrilege. I cannot get excited about this game yet, just on great CG trailers. There's not enough there for me. They showed Rainbow Six Siege, of course. They're talking about how they have 5 bajillion operators and
35 million players.
Yeah, 20 hojillion maps and 35 bazingas of players. Like, the thing they did show off that I thought was really interesting is the...
Another mindset?
Yeah, the upcoming documentary about the game, which I will probably watch. That looks pretty good.
I am 100% in on that.
I know your wife will... the expert Rainbow Six player will probably enjoy that.
Oh, she probably will. It's something we're probably both really going to like sit down and maybe watch one day. It comes out really soon as well, so maybe in a couple of weeks. Yeah, they were saying like, oh, it comes out during the Paris finals or whatever, and I didn't remember what those dates were. So, yep. It is worth mentioning that Beyond Good and Evil 2 was the start of the true theme for this year's Ubisoft show, which is all about community. In Beyond Good and Evil 2, it's all about community developing your assets for you. In Rainbow Six Siege, it was about how on earth do they have that strong and big of a community still for a game that everybody said was going to be dead. Very much a thank you for sticking with us community sort of thing. Yeah. Yep. They showed off Trials Rising, which the presenter... was developed by the community, apparently. Yeah. The developer that they had come out on stage was pretty perfect. Had that fake fall through a fake podium, and then he introduced himself as the Prime Minister of Finland, which was really great. He just reminded me of that Trials-like game with the guy who was the movie star, who was the Daredevil. Yeah. I wish I could remember the name of it, but... I can't remember his name. Never mind. Anyway, yeah, he reminded me of him. It didn't seem like they had too much different in Trials Rising from previous Trials games, but I don't think that's really a problem. Yeah. No, the fact that they actually brought somebody who created a YouTube channel and made a good name for himself, teaching people how to play Trials to develop the tutorial for the new Trials. Yeah, I like that. They brought out the guy that made the University of Trials, and I like that he came out and said, like, hey, the tutorials for these games aren't good because they show you how to drive the bike, and then that's it, and you need to know so much more. And the fact that they had him and his team come in to make the tutorials is a really great move. I think that's really smart. And they also announced it's coming on Switch, which is a really great platform for that. Then they came out and talked a whole bunch about The Division 2. They showed that CG trailer, which I didn't think was that great. They had the trailer wasn't great at all. The gameplay was good. Gameplay was good. They had a very dramatic presenter, like they usually do at Ubisoft, about serious topics. Yeah, but he was dramatic, but he was not Watch Dogs. No, he wasn't. Nothing will top that. They were talking about a lot of sort of stuff about how the game is actually going to work, which I really appreciated. Yep. They came out and said, we're going to put out a bunch of DLC packs and, like title updates in between those, and they're all free. So, yep. My favorite thing for this was literally they did like the CG trailer, they did a little bit of gameplay, and then the guy comes out and he doesn't talk about the story, he doesn't talk about the plot, he doesn't talk about anything about it. The guy's first thing when he starts his presentation about why you need to buy this game is, this is the end game content we have planned for you. And it's like, It's not even out. You haven't told us about the story. You haven't
Right.
told us anything about the single player, and you're starting.
Yeah,
with
don't
endgame
worry, it
content.
doesn't die at the end game this time.
Thank you for bringing the correct approach
Yep.
to one of these types of game, where you don't tease us on the story, tease us about the end.
Yeah, because he also talked about 2 additional things, which was once you reach the end of the game, you pick a specialization with a weapon you focus on and special sort of focused skills for those classes, which is kind of cool. They showed 3 classes. And then they said, yo, by the way, we're putting out 8-player raids. And I went, yeah, awesome. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need.
Yep.
And
Good on him.
that's coming out March 15th, 2019. And that looks real good.
Whole bunch of Division to play between now and then.
Yeah. They showed off Mario and Rabbids Donkey Kong Adventure, their upcoming DLC, with a live
I
band
was
with...
going to say, is that DLC?
What's that?
I was going to ask if that was DLC or if that was...
Yeah, it's DLC. Allegedly, it's pretty lengthy, but it's not integrated in the main game. It's one of those, like, do you want to start playing Donkey Kong Adventure? And I guess one of his big things is he can throw units around the field, which seems pretty cool.
So dope.
I did like that they brought out a live band with Grant Kirkhope, which is really great.
Is that the Grant
Yes,
Kirkhope?
the Grant Kirkhope. Nice to...
I did not like... I was going to say, I did not like the fact that the poor guy... Ubisoft had this issue where they didn't turn off the mics early enough.
It was really great for Beyond Good and Evil because they were like, yes, we nailed it. Oh, we did it. I was like, that's
This
great.
guy-
They're super pumped about their game. This is cute.
This guy was completely different.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. And he goes, yeah, it changes every minute. They're changing it all the time. And I was like, cut the mic. Cut the mic. He's going to get himself fired. They shot off a ton of a game that I totally forgot, which is Skull and Crossbones. They put out a story trailer and then just showed a buttload of gameplay.
Yep, it looks interesting. I still don't know if I'm in.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, they showed it off, and it looks like it's a darker Assassin's Creed that's focused primarily on just the sailing.
And multiplayer.
Yeah, and multiplayer, which could be good, but I need to see way more of this before I get... Because, like, of course what they showed on the press conference is good, but...
Really?
Yeah, shocker. I think that could be pretty cool. I almost think that could be sort of their answer to Sea of Thieves, but...
In a more serious way?
Yeah, but with, like, less on-boat cooperation and more multiple boat cooperation.
Yeah.
I think that could be neat, but still early.
Oh, yeah.
No release date for that. So.
No, it was supposed to be this year, I think, and it got pushed. So...
Fall of next year, probably.
Yeah, see if it makes a...
March 26th. Or February 26th, 2020.
Yup.
They showed off Transference. Elijah Wood came back out on stage. This is the game they announced last year or 2 years ago with Elijah Wood.
I think it was last year, I think.
Yeah, started his company Spectre Vision, I think it's called.
Yep.
They showed off a pretty cool trailer. This is pretty interesting. It's VR focused, but he said you can also play it on traditional platforms, which is a great way of putting that.
Consoles.
Yeah. I think that looks pretty interesting. It comes out this fall, and I hope they don't show a ton of it off before release, but
yeah, I hope people get to go in as blind as they can for this kind of thing.
Yeah, it looks very story focused. It looks very like diving into your memories and figuring out what is and isn't real, and I just eat that stuff up.
Yeah.
They showed off Starlink Battle for Atlas. This is the game I sort of forgot what it was until they showed you snapping the spaceships on your controller, and I was like, okay, cool, it's that cool, fun thing.
And then they dropped the biggest bombshell of the show.
Yeah, like, they showed, like, oh, it can get tough out there, maybe you need some of your friends. And they zoom in, like, oh, we need help, and they zoom in on the screen, and I was like, that's weird. That sounds like Slippy from Star Fox. That can't be. Wait, it's Star Fox.
Yep.
So the Switch version just has friggin' Star Fox in it.
Good on Nintendo for loosening that belt around their IPs. because
Yeah.
that is a really A, it's a good get.
Yep.
And B, it's a really good fit within
Yep.
that game. So good on them.
And then they bust on over to Miyamoto in the audience and say, "Here, we give you a present. Come backstage with us." And he sort of looked like, "No, I want to watch the show. Like, can I?
Yeah,
I just want to sit back
did
down."
not look like he wanted to go backstage at all.
Yeah, they just stole Miyamoto. I mean, sheesh. They showed For Honor.
Big ups to the community again in this one. Thank
Yes.
you for sticking with us.
Yeah, they showed like they're gonna put some historical units from Asian mythology in there, as far as I can tell. I kind of don't know.
I think I'm probably getting this so wrong. It's the Han army. So it's
Okay.
Attila the Hun. Like, it's that kind of era, I believe. Like,
Okay.
the Romance of the Seven Kingdoms, that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay.
So
They didn't show a ton about that, which sort of makes sense.
yeah, I think that it's a new faction. It's going to take some time to get them brought in. But the whole castle siege game mode is kind of a cool idea as well.
Oh, they did announce that. Yeah, that could be neat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I should go back and play that game.
It has dedicated servers now, so...
Yes, maybe it might work now. The question
Yeah.
is, am I so out of touch I'm going to get battered everywhere?
Probably. I
Yes.
mean, the meta's probably changed, so you should be fine.
We'll see.
They showed a little bit of the Crew 2, but I mean, it's out so soon that it was more just like, hey, there's an open beta, and don't forget this comes out pretty soon. So,
Yep.
not a ton there. And then, obviously, they closed off the show with Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Oh boy, did they.
They showed a lot of stuff here, so and I've probably forgotten a bunch. They showed off the 2 playable characters. There's a man and a woman. It's not like Syndicate, where you switch between the two. You pick one and you play that
stay
person
with
the whole game.
Yep.
So that's great, because I can just play as the lady for the whole game, and I'm happy.
Yep.
Shut off dialogue trees, which
Yep.
is great and unexpected, and I like it.
Weird.
Yeah, arguing with Socrates with dialogue trees is really great. They are coming out pretty honestly and saying that they're moving closer to being an action RPG rather than sort of what's been the traditional Assassin's Creed. If you played Origins, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting this kind of change to be more... like less of a stealth game and more of an action game.
Yeah,
And
and more of an RPG.
yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
they've got the stealth still in there, because I still love playing those games that way.
Yep.
But dialogue trees and everything else, you know what, bring it on.
Yeah.
Keep changing this series. Like, it's good to see them continue to shift the, like, I thought Origins was a fantastic shift away from what it had been getting very, very stale.
Yeah.
And if this continues that shift in a positive direction, great.
Yeah. They showed off a whole bunch of Assassin's Creed stuff otherwise in gameplay. Fighting, talking, sailing, equipment, just...
Stabby stab.
Yeah, like the
that.
whole thing. I think it looks really good. Like, and for them
Yeah.
to keep moving towards an action RPG is sort of my language. So yeah,
And to be honest, I think they probably made the smartest decision they could, because this is set in Greece,
yeah,
like right around the same time as Origins,
yep,
and they specifically call out that you are descended from Leonidas.
yeah.
If there is one name that people know when it comes to Greek history,
Hey, I
the
saw
cultural
300.
Lodge. Exactly.
Yeah,
And when you have that kick in the actual trailer as
Yep.
well, it's like, okay, yeah, you're trying to hit as many people as you can with this.
and like I think that's fair. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, of course we're going to do 300." It's like, yeah, of course they are. They want to sell 5 million copies of the game.
Yep.
It's still going to be good.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Bring me your Assassin's Creed messed upness into my 300 game. I will be
Yeah.
perfectly happy.
Yeah, someone wants to make a really great 300 game. Sure, whatever.
And it does look like based on the little section you see, it looks like you might be able to get to play that battle based on like a flashback or something.
Yeah,
So, yes,
maybe that'll be their Space Ladies section.
their abilities. Sorry. Their abilities section.
Right, thank you. Vidi Caravella thanks you.
Yes.
But that was Ubisoft. How do you think they fared?
Good show. I like their show, not just because, like, I think their games in general I'm not a huge interested in. Crew 2, I'm out. Transference, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Skull and Bones, probably out, to be honest. For Honor, we'll see how I feel about going back to it.
Yeah.
DK Adventure, don't have a Switch, not going to be playing it. Division 2, I'm in. Trials Rising, probably out. Rainbow Six Siege, already own it. You know, their games, I'm less appealed by their games, but I think their press conference was solid.
Yeah.
And especially after this whole ZeniMax, whatever it was, stuff has been going on for the past 5 years. It's good to see them come out and just be like, yo, we owe you guys because you guys have had our back from day one. And again, Ubisoft come out as the publisher and developer. They're all about their community. And
Yeah.
I think it showed.
Did you see what Alex Navarro said about the intro?
Oh, no.
He said it's the ZeniMax is finally dead celebration. So good. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they had a solid show. I think a lot like EA, they came on stage, they showed the stuff they needed to. I like that they showed a lot of Skull and Crossbones. I think that, or Skull and Bones, I never remember, Skull and Crossbones. I think that's cool. Really disappointed in a lot of the hit record stuff around Beyond Good and Evil 2. I think that is tone deaf from Ubisoft and hit record's side, and didn't explain it well enough at the show, and they haven't explained it well enough since.
Yeah.
But I think they put out a great show, and I really like what they showed of Assassin's Creed Odyssey without showing too much of it. I think they got me interested in, like you said, Assassin's Creed continuing to evolve. And that, yeah. I think that's really great. Now that we're on, whatever, the 50th game of the series.
Yeah, it's getting up there.
Yeah. We're going to do highlights of the PC gaming show here. They showed a lot of...
This is the one I did not watch.
Okay, so we'll do sort of a highlight here. This was not an unmitigated disaster like it's been in last year's. They really upped the production quality of this, which is really good. They opened up with Satisfactory, which sort of looks like a first-person Factorio, which is
okay.
Basically like building automation machines and building factories and sort of getting them put together so that they can automate production of different stuff. Basically like a first-person factory building puzzle game. Looks pretty cool. They showed Neo Cab, which is this really cool-looking cab driving adventure game / visual novel. Has this really great color palette. Reminds me a lot of what some previous, before Cyberpunk 2077, some of what like 2064 Read Only Memories was doing with like that color palette. I think that looks pretty cool. Show off Mavericks, which is a battle royale game up to 1,000 concurrent players.
Oh, please.
But I think the bad part about them showing that is they didn't show off anything else that would separate it from the pack. They showed a lot of, environment, gameplay, and shooting and stuff, but it sort of just looked like a really big battle royale game, which I don't know if that's going to do it for people.
Probably not.
Yeah. They showed The Forgotten City, which is a remake of the award-winning Skyrim mod, The Forgotten City, which I just looked and has like 1,700 5-star reviews and 1.6 million people have played it. So
I have heard about that mod.
Yeah, I hadn't, but that trailer was pretty cool, and it looks like they're basically taking that mod, putting it into what I'm going to assume is Unreal Engine 4, and then massively expanding it. More endings, more characters, more stories, more stuff. So that looks pretty neat. They showed off Star Control Origins, which I was pretty excited about for a new Star Control game until they showed that it wasn't that. So it's an open world action RPG instead. So, which is probably going to be fine, but like Command & Conquer, putting a highly respected name like Star Control on a game that isn't a Star Control game is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Yep, I give you the altogether incredible game, Syndicate.
Yes. Oh, man.
that rubbed people the wrong way 100%, and that game is quality.
Yep. I can say that as someone who really loved the original Syndicate games. The new Syndicate is also really good.
Yep.
They showed off Crytek's Hunt Showdown, which they were showing a new features trailer, so I guess it's already out, and they're just updating it. I
don't know.
I hadn't heard about that one, which is probably tells you something about the state of Crytek, unfortunately. Showed off Archangel Hellfire, which looks like a pretty cool multiplayer mech fighting game that features fully destructible maps. So you have like mechs throwing other mechs into the side of a mountain and the mountain crumbling. Like that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. The Sinking City is an open world adventure game. It looks like it's made by the Sherlock Holmes studio. So it looks like they're taking what they learned with those really great Sherlock Holmes adventure games and then kind of starting to make their own game out of them. They showed a little bit of Warframe The Sacrifice, which is their new story expansion, which is out now.
Yep. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just for the record, after this E3 dropped, I think I turned on my Xbox on like Tuesday or Wednesday and had like 27 updates. It's like, come on, people, don't just drop everything at once.
Brand new DLC right now. It's like, great, my bandwidth cap is blown.
Yep.
They had a whole block of, hey, we're Sega and we're bringing a ton of games to PC, which is great. They showed Vanquish, Puyo Puyo Tetris, Shenmue 1 and 2, Shining Resonance Refrain, most importantly, Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza 0. Yakuza 0 is available for pre-order right now. And Valkyria Chronicles 4. Go play the Yakuza games. As long as they don't screw up the port, those are going to be really great. I mean, on console, they already run 1080p 60, so on PC, they're just going to look so good.
They should be fine.
Yeah. Showed off a lot of Killing Floor 2. Released a steampunk DLC. They're just continuing to support the hell out of that game, and that's awesome.
Yep.
Next, they showed a title called Maneater, which is probably my second favorite show of the PC gaming show. You play as a shark that attaches beachgoers.
Attaches? Or attacks?
Attacks, sorry. Long show.
It's okay. It's hot and it's tired.
Yeah.
And may I introduce you to Ubisoft's Hungry Shark Evolution?
Well, what I really liked about this is when the developers came up on stage and was basically like, yeah, this game is super dumb. It's an open-world action RPG where he plays a shark. We're calling it a Shark PG, which is really great. It has a full single-player campaign, and all that is super dumb, and I'm totally into it.
Is this put out by Devolver Digital by any chance?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's self-published, but that certainly seems like a Devolver game. Maybe they'll just scoop them up later.
Yep.
And then a new publisher unveiled themselves titled Untitled Publisher. On their trailer they said, yes, that's our name, which, come on guys. They announced Bravery Network Online, which is a 2D fighting game, which sort of seems like it's a license, but I didn't have enough time to research that one.
I also just realized that Giant Bomb are probably going to hate that publisher.
Thanks for screwing up our wiki. You jerks.
Again.
Yeah. They showed off Morning Star, which started out as a farming sim game, and then he goes and uses a computer and the whole world changes. So that seems interesting. That could be pretty cool. And it showed Overwhelm, which is a 2D platforming action game with this cool white and red color palette. That looked pretty neat too. So some of that stuff is pretty interesting. Overwhelm is available right now, and the other two are coming later. They showed off Jurassic World Evolution, which is basically
theme park with
Jurassic
World people.
Sim Zoo with Jurassic Park, which...
Yep. Spoiler alert, the dinosaurs escape in the end and everybody dies.
Yeah, that'd be great. Insomniac was there to show off Stormland, which is their VR action game. Which looks pretty cool, actually.
Yep. We'll see how they do.
Yeah, watching the trailer, they seem to have fixed some of the movement stuff that plagues a lot of that stuff. Show off Night Call, which reminded me a lot of This Is the Police, that sort of art style. Like a black and white style. Comic book style. I don't know what it's about. I almost think it's another driving a cab game, but that could be pretty cool. A lot of people freaked out about this game, Sable. This open world adventure game that looks like a Mobius thing come to life. They showed it a little bit at Microsoft, I think, as well, but I don't know what that game is, but that looks incredible.
My problem is it's two words there that I do not associate with the video game or the art style.
Yeah.
Sable I associate with a really bad wrestler, and Mobius I associate with a really bad singer. So
okay. Maybe watch the trailer then.
Yeah, I should probably watch the trailer for that one rather than think about anything else.
They put out a trailer for a Star Citizen Alpha patch, which...
Yeah, can we skip this? Because I'm done with that game.
Yeah, that's literally all I was going to say, because that's ludicrous. They had a quick section about HDR. For some reason, I don't understand why.
As far as I know, there's new... Shocking, there is new developments in HDR tech, so they're talking about like the next big hotness is the new HDR.
Oh, okay.
Because now people have access to it, and everyone's like, "Oh, 4K doesn't matter; it's the HDR that does."
Right.
Duh.
This stuff looks great. Yeah.
Yep.
They announced a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'm getting tired. My voice is blowing out, so we're gonna hit the highlights here for the PC one. Don't Starve Hamlet. They announced the next single player expansion for Don't Starve. That looks really good. It's obviously focused on the pigs in the game.
Yep.
Just Cause 4, they had some developers on stage to talk about the Apex engine and how it manages the weather effects and how the tornadoes change the stuff, and that still looks really great. They announced Noita, I think is how you pronounce it, an action roguelike where every pixel is simulated. That looks pretty neat, and it really reminds me of something, and I cannot put my finger on it, and it's driving me crazy. But that...
I'll have a watch and see if I can figure it out after the show.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. They showed off a bunch of gameplay of 2 Point Hospital, which I know Moon and I are very excited about because it's the spiritual sequel to Theme Hospital.
How did it look, Boston? Tell me all about it.
Dude, it looks really good. Basically what they did is they made a new Theme Hospital, and they didn't mess with it.
Oh, that's so good.
Like, one of the this is so good. One of the afflictions that someone came in for was turtle head syndrome, and basically their body was normal, and they had like a tiny little turtle head coming out of their shoulders.
That's so good.
And basically how they fixed it is someone went on a conveyor belt and got strapped in one of those machines from the intro of the original Syndicate, where it spins them around in those two rings, and then basically hold them upside down. Their head pops out, and they put another head on them, and then send them on their way.
Oh, wow.
It's so theme park.
I was hoping it would be like a tiny little turtle head with a bandana on it.
No, that'd be great. It's the other one they showed was monobrow syndrome, where someone just comes in with like this big eyebrow that's like 10 times the size, just stretched across their head. Like it's Theme Hospital. It's so good.
Yep.
And they showed shooting roaches with your mouse. It's perfect. They showed off Rapture Rejects, the Cyanide and Happiness game. This interesting sort of battling multiplayer game. It's like isometric 2D, where basically you and all the other people that didn't get taken by the Rapture are left on Earth, and it looks like what a Cyanide and Happiness game would look like. It's
of course
pretty interesting. And last but not least, they show off a pretty quick trailer for Hitman 2, coming November 13th.
Literally right around the corner.
Yeah, that game is more Hitman, and that's about all we need, I guess. All right, let's move on to, we have two more. Let's hit the second of the big three. We got Sony. They spent the week leading up to their press conference announcing a whole bunch of stuff that they should have shown on stage. First,
yeah, that's the impression I get after hearing about the reception to this thing.
Yeah. They showed off Tetris Effect. Tetsuya Mizuguchi, who made Rez, and Luminous, is making a Tetris game. And
it looks insane. I'm in.
It looks crazy. It's also playable in PSVR, which that looks so good. I'm so excited for a Tetris game. It's crazy.
Yep.
They showed off the 2 Persona dancing games, Persona 3 and 5 dancing games, that launched early 2019. Put out a new trailer with English voice acting. You know what those games are. Mm-hmm. They released the release date for Days Gone, which is February 22nd, 2019. Put out a new trailer for that. I still... That game has still not grabbed me, so I'm not the person to talk about that.
The fact that this thing didn't get a stage...
Yeah, what?
...spot. This is a second-party exclusive or whatever it is.
I think so, yeah.
And it's not gotten a stage show this year. How little faith do you have in this game?
Yeah, I don't... It's so weird. It's baffling. They showed off a PSVR title called Ghost Giant, which actually looks kind of neat. You're like
kind of cool.
The god of a little town, and you're helping all the people. That looks pretty cool. And then, of course, they are getting Beat Saber on PSVR because Beat Saber is a great game, and it's on every VR platform.
And PSVR definitely needs stuff.
Yes. So let's talk about the press conference that starts in a tent that looks like a church.
Yep.
That he keeps calling a church, and I did not understand what it was about, and they had a very talented... The musician that I later realized is behind the Last of Us games came out to play a banjo dirge that wasn't super exciting, and then they showed The Last of Us 2, which took place in a tent, and I was like, oh, okay. All right, now I understand where you're coming from.
My notes here, like, let's share crazy show notes here, shall we?
This is where stuff gets really nuts.
My notes up to where you're up to. My notes were, where's the theater? Where are they? What's going on with the audio?
Yes,
because it was super echoey and super bad. Like listening to it. Was hard.
Apparently, some archives have one feed which had the audio playing twice in it for some reason.
That could have been what happened to me.
Yeah, very weird.
And the one quote I wrote down from the gentleman on the stage at that time was, "We're not going to bombard you with a bunch of new creative this year."
Right.
Which I'm all for trying to do something different at E3. People have experimented with this before. Look at EA 2 years ago with their behind-the-scenes footage of all the studios while not really announcing anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you that's the fourth line out of your mouth is, "We're not going to bombard you with new creative this year."
Yeah, that's bad.
That feels like a defensive stance straight off the get-go.
Yeah, that's real bad.
Oh no, we wasted all of our stuff on the approach to E3.
Yeah. They showed off a whole bunch of Last of Us 2. They showed the now famous Smoochin' trailer, which had a bunch of gameplay in it, and I was... Last of Us always gets me because they show the story stuff, and I'm like, yeah, Last of Us, sure. And then they show the gameplay, and it is stupid violent and completely turns me off from the game, and I go, that's right, I don't want to play this game.
I kind of really do, but I kind of really don't. I don't know how I feel about putting claw hammers into people's faces.
Yeah, I don't like any of that, man. It's too much. I'm not one that's gonna be like, no violence in my video game. This is too much. And the thing that I thought that Insomniac had to defend a little bit later was some of the gameplay. Like, it looked a little too fluid, and it looked a little too rehearsed, like too scripted in the game. And they said, like, no, those are all moves you can do. And it's like, yeah, but
that doesn't answer the question.
It looked too good. Like, it looked too smooth. That I don't know. The Last of Us, I didn't enjoy the first one, and I didn't finish it. And I already know that this is not a game for me. And I'm very happy to see so many people super excited for it, so that Naughty Dog can keep making games. I just... Mm-hmm. And then... This is where this press conference starts to spiral, because we're going to take a quick break as people move on to, quote, the next part of the experience.
Correction. Yeah, he says that, or does the guy at the desk say that?
I think it's the guy at the desk. The thing that I wanted to say here from Servo from the community is it's like I'm watching YouTube commercials. That's basically what we got for about the next 15 or 20 minutes. Here's the crazy stuff. They started announcing a whole bunch of stuff while people were literally walking from a tent to a theater. God of War is going to...
My notes here, by the way. What WTF is going on?
Yep.
Is this a press conference, a media event, a purchaser event, or a fan event? Are they doing a giant bomb thing? Question mark.
They moved the entire crowd from one building to another during the break. What the hell? Now they're in a giant arena in a totally different spot. What's going on? But they announced some interesting stuff in between while people were walking. God of War is going to get a new game plus. Which I think is cool. That's a great way to incentivize people to go through and play through it again. Call of Duty
Black Ops maps are Black Ops 3 maps are coming into 4, or Black Ops 1 maps are coming into 4, but if you buy them now, you can also get them on Black Ops 3.
Okay.
Whatever.
Because I wrote down remastered maps from old games as a pre-order for Blops 3 when you pre-order 4. Wait, what? Because they were sort of announcing stuff for 4, but they were also announcing COD Blops 3 is playable on PS Plus for free that day, and you got maps in that if you pre-order 4. And I was just like, you guys have to figure out a way better way of explaining what the hell's going on right there.
Yep.
They also showed off a new story trailer for Destiny 2 Forsaken where Cade dies.
Yep, certainly looked that way.
Yeah, and Bungie has come out afterward and said, no, yeah, he's dead. Like, he's not coming back. We're killing him. It's like, okay, maybe you put that on the stage? Like, nearly all of the other stuff you should have put on the stage? Oh, God. So they had a guy come out and play...
pan flute.
Yeah, some instrument that I don't understand, but I just saw on Twitter something really cool that he is what is internationally recognized as like the best player of that instrument and like one of the last few on the planet, which is cool, and you could have introed that because that's
instead of just dumping him out on stage.
Yeah, because that's interesting, and like dumping him on stage with a giant screen with flowers in the background, but that's fine. They showed off Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, by the way, my note here, a conference. That's better.
Yeah, like they finally moved into, all right, now you guys are out of the tent. Like, we got the big screen, we got the stage. Here's a conference. This game looks pretty cool.
I'm going to say this again this year, but I know Musin was not happy with me phrasing it this way last year. This feels like a Sony game.
Yeah.
It's a third-person action-adventure
hack
game
and slash
in an open world.
ninja stuff.
It feels like The Last of Us. It feels like Uncharted.
Well, I mean,
it feels like Days Gone.
They love publishing character action games, and this looks like a character action game. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It does look like a game that Sony is going to put in their press conference.
Yeah, I know. Like, that aside, oh, this game looks gorgeous.
Yeah, and the action looks pretty interesting, too. They didn't show a ton of gameplay, but what they had in there looked...
It looks a lot more deliberate than their usual stuff.
Yeah, instead of just, like, hack and slash, hit the X button a whole bunch, and enemies are going to die. I was excited for them to show off more Dreams, but it was just a 2-second thing of a banana playing a guitar, and then they...
Yeah, Dreams did the interstitials this year.
Yeah, which is not a great place to show off Dreams. The thing they should have shown was the thing they showed on Twitter, which was someone made a giant buff penguin that was pooping out smaller buff penguins. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm interested in Dreams. I still don't know what it is, but that's great. Next off, they showed Control, which is one of my games of the show.
Yo, and look who developed it. Guess who's in this household? 100%.
Yeah, this is Remedy's new game, which is exactly all I needed to know about it. It's a lady that seems to control shifting rooms, gunplay, power, dreams. I don't care. I want it.
Yep.
Remedy has a free pass still, so...
I'm sorry, but Max Payne, Alan Wake, for me personally,
Yep.
at least, the why can I never remember the name?
Quantum Break.
Quantum Break. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I've never played a game by them and been disappointed.
Yeah.
So I will take it.
They also showed off the Resident Evil 2 remake, which...
And oh boy, am I in 100% because this was my first Resident Evil game.
Oh, really? This was... I started with the first one, but 2 is so good, and they're running it on the Resident Evil 7 engine, which already looks so good, and this game looks incredible. Yes.
Are they doing first person or are they doing?
I think it's third person.
Because it looks like it's behind the shoulder like 4.
Yeah,
but if it's on the 7 engine as well, that engine is a beautiful.
Yeah, I think they're keeping it pretty true to Resident Evil 2. But this was a really great announcement, and I genuinely didn't know what it was until
you saw the hair, or until you saw the liquor?
Until I saw the hair, and I was just sort of like, oh, it's Resident Evil. What do they remake? Oh my god, it's 2.
Mm-hmm. It's Rookie Cop Leon S. Kennedy.
And Tofu is back, they've already said, by the way.
Yep, everything from the original is still in there,
so good.
From what I'm hearing.
January 25th.
So, get ready to play through that game twice as 2 different people, which blew my mind when I started playing that game.
2 discs. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
They showed off a game by the Rick and Morty creator and a studio whose name I didn't catch called Trover Saves the Universe.
And I'm out.
Yeah, man, like, if you like Rick and Morty, this looks exactly like that sense of humor, so you know if you're in or you're out. They showed off another new trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3. This was yet another different one.
My note here says, Kingdom Hearts 3. It's everywhere in all capital letters.
That's the side effect of it coming to both platforms. Is everyone's going to show it.
I did love Sony's little jab here at the end of the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer where it's like, oh, you can get this special PS4 Pro limited edition console. Yep. And it comes with Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Ultimate Remix, 2.8 HD Ultimate Remix, 3 all in one package, and it was like, get the whole experience all in one package.
And the thing that's really interesting is they're also selling that package digitally. So you get 4 games. You get the complete Kingdom Hearts Saga and Kingdom Hearts 3 for $99.
That's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, that's a lot of, because each one of those packages has like 3 or 4 games in it. So if you wanted to catch up on this, because it's allegedly coming in January or whatever,
January 29th.
Yeah, you can scoop up that whole thing and Kingdom Hearts 3 for $100 and start playing it now, because it's going to take you a while.
Yeah, a long while.
Yeah. They obviously showed off Death Stranding.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
The third point?
Where's my Death Stranding? Death Stranding.
Oh, you...
Yeah, no, your fourth point. If you can read your 4th point for me.
So my third point here is... Well, my fourth point here. I'm pretty out of patience with Kojima's fake trailers. I just want him to show off the game and what's going on. Like, actual gameplay. Story's another thing. I don't really care. Or go away until it's out. Like... Yep. Stop these vague, like, because what I want Death Stranding to now be.
I'm torn on this game, but when I read your third point,
I really want this to be like
if it's that
a third person delivery puzzle game, because he always has this stuff on his back and he's like walking across a planet.
Yep.
I want to figure out how to get this thing from point A to point B and have Kojima's story all over the rest of it. That sounds cool, but I know it's not going to be that.
Especially not after the end of the gameplay section we saw, where it was creepy baby in a jar with a flashing weird like signal light and shadows in the air.
He started the trailer with the thumbs up stomach baby, and I was like, okay, well we're going places with this one if that's how you're starting it.
Yep. I don't even know anymore.
So Death Stranding still looks interesting in the way that Kojima games look interesting, but I don't know if I can... Like, Beyond Good and Evil 2, I don't know if I can care yet, because I've seen virtually nothing.
Yeah.
We've seen a little bit of in-engine stuff, but I don't know if that's gameplay yet. So...
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see, I guess. They showed off a little bit of Neo 2, which was a very pleasant surprise of an announcement.
Yeah.
Getting to see them make another game is very exciting. Make another Neo game is very exciting.
This is the other Ninja studio that I think Microsoft should have picked up as well.
I think they should have scooped up Team Ninja.
I think if you pick up two Ninja studios, you pick up Blade and Team, and you've got yourself a bit of a powerhouse.
You just hired all your ninjas.
Yes, hire every ninja. Think about it. Ninja Blade in charge of the story.
Right.
Team Ninja in charge of the gameplay.
That's true. Yeah.
It's the perfect Team Ninja Blade.
They got all ninjas covering all bases. And they showed off Spider-Man. They showed off a lot of gameplay, which is really... I'm so happy they showed off a ton of gameplay.
Yeah, this kind of stole Sony's press conference to me. It
looks really good. I really like how they made Spidey Sense look. And it looks like a lot of fun to play. Like I don't know what else to say other than that looks like a great game to play.
Yeah, my note here is Arkham Asylum for this gen, but with Spider-Man.
Yeah, like a little more fluid, it looks like. Because the Batman games, because of Batman, it was always a little bit more deliberate, but this just looks fun.
Like super acrobatic, super, like you said, super fluid motions and everything he does. It looks really, really great.
Yeah.
Like, really great.
And that was it. About 45 minutes.
Yep. Where was the rest of their conference again?
It got lost between the tent and the stage. They did show one game on the after show that I cannot pronounce that From Software is making a cool-looking VR game. But how did you feel about Sony?
I think you said it, like Servo said best in Discord. It felt like you were watching like a YouTube trailer compilation. Yeah. Like, minus the guy at the church tent thing at the beginning, and the pan flute guy playing at the start of the conference section. Did anybody else stand on that stage at any point during the time from they got in there to the time when we were told it was over?
Oh boy, I thought that one guy came out, like the head. I can never remember his name. He's like the guy you always see on stage, but I don't remember. I think that's the thing, is like I don't remember much about this conference, because for me this was easily worst of the show. Before it was Square Enix, but this is
Square was YouTube trailers. That's all Square was,
which is fine.
And that's fine. That's the way they want to do it. That's fine. Oh,
I'm so disappointed in this, because they came before the conference. They said, "Hey, we're going to show these 4 big tentpole releases," but they didn't say that's all we're showing.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like I expected them to do a huge deep dive into each one of them. You basically just got a trailer for each.
Yeah, show some on stage gameplay. Show some games. Like it's such a stark contrast of Microsoft coming out and being like, "Hi, by the way, we're showing 50 games. See you later," and then they show a whole bunch of stuff. And then Sony coming out and saying, like, "By the way, please be patient while people move from one place to another, and here's a couple of quick announcements," whatever. This couldn't be more disappointing and more of a bummer, especially when the last 2 years they've knocked it out of the park.
They nailed it. Like, the last 2 years, they have nailed it. And with the exception of little bits and pieces that they've done, which I've been disappointed in, their press conferences, for example, the past couple of years have ran a bit too long, but that's because they're not constrained by TV the way Microsoft used to be. Yeah. Because it used to be on Spike. Microsoft's used to be on Spike, so they had to run at a good, like, hour and 15 or whatever it was. And Sony was like, "We got 2.5 hours.
We're going to show you everything."
And that was great, and they did a really good job, and like, I'm not kidding when I say that line at the start of their show. What was it? "We're not going to bombard you with a whole bunch of new creative." Yeah. That tells us, like, whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you will accept it or not, that's telling your audience that we got nothing for you. That's the message that's putting across in a conference where you are ostensibly supposed to be talking to the people who buy your games to sell them.
And I mean,
like, this is a trade show before anything else. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a trade show.
Yeah, it's like your one opportunity to get in front of the majority of your market, and you just whiff. I mean, it's such a miss. It reminds me, yet again, Microsoft and Sony have flipped. And Microsoft, the last couple of years, have sort of come out and be like, we have Forza, and Crackdown's still coming, and Master Chief Collection, we're still working on that. And sort of like, okay, but like, what else do you have? And this year, Microsoft killed it, and Sony just died on stage.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing for me personally is the stuff Sony had to show was incredible. Yeah. Ghosts of Tsushima looks absolutely incredible. Yeah. Control was the big like steal away from me. Like,
show me way more of that.
Yeah, show me maybe not so much of the Resident Evil 2 remaster. I get it. I'm already sold.
Yeah, we've already played it. Show more Dreams. Like
it's the second to last press conference, and Kingdom Hearts 3 is one of your things on the stage. When Days Gone was pushed to a pre-E3 announcement.
Yeah, why didn't we see a 10-minute gameplay demo of Days Gone?
Why didn't we see a 10-minute gameplay demo of anything other than Spider-Man? Yeah. And whatever that Dead Stranding thing is, like
whatever that was.
/ not gameplay.
Yeah, not to belabor the point, but easily my worst of show is Sony, which shocking.
I mean, I'm pretty sure like my opinion cannot be trusted clearly because I don't own the PlayStation, and this household is as a whole. This household is probably skewed towards the Microsoft direction, and that's fine. You can believe me or not believe me, but Sony are in a powerful position, and this felt like a you want to get a second job kind of year.
Well, and I mean, as a non-PS4 owner, this is a year to sell you. And
it really is, and the games look great, but Death Stranding, torn on, Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out on my platform. Tsushima and Spider-Man are the two things they showed that are exclusive for their console that I'm interested in. That thing. Control, I don't know if that is exclusive or not. I'm guessing not because it's Remedy,
probably
and
not.
they probably learned their lesson about doing that. But everything else is just like, okay, Neo 2. I still need to play the first Neo. I don't know. The games look great, but you showed me 6 things.
Why?
And then dropped like 5 things in between, including 2 games that already exist. Big whoop, you're getting a new game plus for one of the games of the year.
Yeah.
Like, end of discussion, God of War is going to be in the game of the year discussion everywhere this year. A new game plus mode for that is not an E3 announcement for the big 3.
Well, and like they didn't even show. I'm thinking about this too, where you're saying like I don't own a PS4. They're not even showing like a sizzle reel of. Don't forget, here are the great games we put out on these games available now, and like 4K support and all this stuff. This didn't. I don't know. Sony, you can do better.
It was
better.
They can, and they should. They should have done. They should have had people on that stage as well. Don't just stick people in a church, then move them to a stadium, and literally, nobody making presentations. It's a presentation.
Yeah. Like it's in stark contrast to stuff like Bethesda and EA and Ubisoft, where developers are coming out on stage and being passionate about their passion projects. We didn't see anybody. Like, we didn't see anyone from Media Molecule building something in Dreams again and like trying to sell that game that we still don't know what it really is. Like, Sony, bad. Just a bummer. Just spraying in their nose with a water bottle. Bad. Stop.
Yep.
All right, let's wrap up with Nintendo, which is our last of the big 3 here. They showed off Daemon Cross Machina, which I feel like will eventually be called Daemon X Machina, which is a much better title. But
my note for this is, oh hey, Nintendo made a game.
Yeah, they're making basically Musum confirmed it yesterday when we were doing Game Club. They have one of the higher producers on that game worked on Armored Core, and he basically said like, "Yo, I want to make a really good Armored Core game." It's like, okay, that's great. Let's do that.
Good for them. Like, hopefully it turns out really cool.
They showed off the first big DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna the Golden Country.
Oh, so it was DLC.
Yeah,
okay.
that is all Greek to me. It looks fantastic. Like, that engine looks great, and still the battle. I don't understand anything about that. I just wrote down anime because that's.
My thoughts didn't Xenoblade Chronicles 2 already?
Yeah, like, isn't that like real new? We got Reggie to come out to talk about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
I hate the fact that I want to switch now.
Yeah.
And it's not Mario Odyssey that does it. It's not Mario Kart that does
Pikachu
it.
Go.
It's not Mario Party that does it. It's not, spoiler alert, Smash Brothers that does it. It's not any of these other games. It's the new Pokemon Go.
Well, it's really interesting because they're showing it integrating with Pokemon Go, and then they're showing it integrating with that Pokeball Plus thing, and showing, carry around your favorite one and walk around the neighborhood and take monsters from Pokemon Go and put them in your Switch. Like, it just looks fun. Like, that's the stuff Nintendo does really well. You look at a trailer and go like, all right, that looks fun. That's cool.
Yeah, it does look good.
Comes out November 16th. So another one of those where it's like, hey, it's pre-order now because it's coming.
Yep.
They showed off Super Mario Party, which number one gets them out of that godforsaken car. Thank you, God. And
yep, number two, the giant bomb photo of this is the best moment of E3 for me.
It's like a painting. It's just this.
It's the Last Supper, but with
7
Dan
people are
the
pissed and 1 person is super excited. The one thing I took away from that trailer is they had 4 people playing it across 2 switches, and at one point they put 2 switches next to each other, and they drove a tank from one switch to another, and I'm like, wow, how did you do that? What dark magic is this? I don't know. But yeah, to me this is like Just Dance. You already know if you're excited or not. You're the market or you aren't. Yep. I don't know. They showed off Fire Emblem 3 Houses, which sort of looks like...
Smile and nod for me, this. I think Fire
Emblem series
Dragon Quest games.
Really good. And it's sort of your... Did you ever play Shining Force on the Genesis?
I believe I may have played a little bit of
It's that. So it's very much like move one unit to another. The 2 units show up like side by side on the battlefield, and they do an attack, and then you go back to the battlefield. The big thing about this one seems to be that when one unit attacks another one, there's like whole armies behind them, like doing the attack animation, and that looks really cool.
This game looks crazy.
It looks crazy and cool, and it's coming out in spring. So,
yep. Hello, February.
They had a big spotlight on Fortnite, available now, and will have voice chat in game without having to use some dumb adapter on your stupid phone.
Thank goodness. That also. Are we going to talk about the whole kerfuffle that showed up this week, or are we going to talk about that next week?
We'll talk about that on next week because I feel like Sony still has some splaining to do.
Yes, which
Sony, you got some splaining to do.
If you listen to the show, you already know what's going on that front. They
showed a quick trailer for Overcooked 2, which is basically like, hey, we have more Overcooked, you should go buy it and play it.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that one's like haunted stage where they had somebody go into a painting and the painting goes to the other side and they get spit out. That's great. Overcooked is great.
And throwing food across gaps.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, man. Whatever. Overcooked is so good. They surprisingly showed Killer Queen Black, which is a huge get for Nintendo on the indie scene. This was a very popular arcade machine, which I think there was just one of them. That was sort of 2 of them. Yeah.
2 side by side.
They were just sort of taking that from show to show. Apparently it's really good, and it's a really great multiplayer game, and it looks great, and they basically said the hit arcade game comes to Switch, which is great. And they sort of have improved and embiggened it, and that's great.
Good for them. Good for the devs of Killer Queen. They got so much so much good heat that, you know, putting it on a platform like that and getting some extra money coming in, good for them.
They also said, hey, Hollow Knight is coming out to the Switch with all the DLC. Oops, it's out right now.
Yep.
So that reminded me I need to play Hollow Knight.
And then the end of the Nintendo press conference was about 6 hours, it felt like.
Still have one more. Octopath Traveler. See you later.
Well, I didn't even write that down.
It's out next month. Like, it's... And then they showed a whole bunch of sizzle reel stuff for a bunch of games that we sort of either knew were coming or, of course, they're coming. So, and then they showed off, you're right, 6 hours of Smash Brothers, which on YouTube, I just put on double speed. Everyone is back.
Yep. Literally everyone. 64 people, something I think.
Like that,
64 like characters from the previous games, not mentioning any new ones. Cough, Ridley, cough. Everyone shut up about it now.
Yeah. I mean, on the surface, it's cool that they're getting everybody back. Like, Snake is back, and, you know...
That was the big get for me. Snake's back.
And it's... I think it's really cool that they're getting everybody back. It's just so much trailer with not a lot of, like, gameplay or what's changing, or for someone like me that's not...
You're not deep in the Smash.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know the Smash meta, so, like, one of the big things I saw is, like, Ganondorf isn't an exact copy of Grey Wolf, and I'm like...
excuse me, I think you'll find it's Captain Falcon that he's not an exact copy of.
Whoever.
Thank you very much.
But, like...
because it used to be Falcon punching Ganondorf doing his stupid punch.
So that's how much I'm out of the meta. It would have been nice to say, like, at least a little sizzle reel of, like, here's what's different other than Peach is back and she's attacking Kirby. And it's like, cool, I know them. Like...
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is... They went super deep into the meta later on. Like, they were talking, like, they talked about all the characters and stuff like that, and then they started breaking down, like, individual characters.
Oh, cool.
And, like, they show side by side, frame by frame, like, really slowed down, like, protective shields, this is how the frames have changed.
Great, I love it.
Special attacks, this is how the frames have changed. These different attacks do different things depending on your condition, and it's just like they broke this down on such a level where it's like, yo, this little first 10 minutes here, this is for the regular folk. This back 40 here, this is for the deep
this is for the Evo folks.
You should have a look at some of the stuff they talk about, because it's minor tweaks that mean nothing to me. Or I know, having listened to people talk about the TFG for so long, the fighting game community.
They're major, huge, game-breaking changes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, oh my god, you changed this person's animation by 2 frames and now the game is broken.
Cool. I love listening to people talk about that stuff.
They went super deep for that in Smash, and it's like, okay, good on you. Can I stop this video now?
Is that all? So that's coming out December 7th, 2018. And that was it for Nintendo. What did you think about Nintendo's Direct for E3?
I thought it was pretty good. I was, as a fan of Mario Party and a fan of Smash, I should really say Smash Brothers.
We all know what you're talking about.
But that's the problem, is I could be air quoted way out of proportion if I start talking about Smash. Anyway, as a fan of the Nintendo series, it's great. I have no interest in playing Mario Party. I don't have a community around here who
you're not gonna play it solo because that sucks.
Unless it has really solid online play, which I'm going to.
Welcome to Grief City, USA.
Yes. You know, Smash, the exact same thing. It's like you can only play single player Smash so much before you get fed up with it. They had a solid show. If you're a fan of Nintendo, that's probably the show of the show, or the director of the show. But it's like, okay, it's more of the same.
And again, like, it's not going to sell you on the console. Like, if you have a Switch, it's like, oh, all right, I got 5 things I'm super pumped for. And if you don't, it's sort of like, it's still pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm. I should have a Switch, and I should have a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I don't, but I should have one.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, it was a solid direct. It was direct and to the point. Haha. And it just Nintendo coming out and doing what they do best, which is we're making great games. We're showing them very simply. Here's when they're coming out. You'll like it or you won't.
Yep.
So
you should totally go and check out that back end of the Smash Brothers stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll have to check some of that out.
So cool.
I only had 2 really quick things for general stuff. 2 things that I'm pretty excited about that there wasn't a lot of stuff shown on the floor otherwise. Dead or Alive 6 was announced.
Yep, I saw that on my Twitter feed.
The trailer is actually really cool. Team Ninja is coming out and saying, like, look, we know how you feel about DOA 5, and we know how the fighting game community sees the series. So we're going to move away from a game that's sexy, and we're going to move to a game that's cool. So a lot less revealing outfits, a lot less crazy stuff. We want to show everybody that we make a really good fighting game without the skin. And I'm like...
Do the boobs still jiggle?
No. They have gotten rid of the soft engine.
Thank you,
which
Dead or Alive.
I think for me, I know some people are upset about it, of course, because it's the internet. I want people to take DOA seriously, because it's a serious fighting game, but it's also like, she kicks high. Boobs. You know, like, they could never really get over the TNA of it for people to say, like, oh, this is actually a really fun fighting game.
They could never get over the TNA of it because they leaned into the TNA every single chance they got.
Well, now that Itagaki's gone, I think they can really pull back on that stuff, and no one's going to be like, wait, where are my boobs?
Wait, you're telling me I can't control these with the right stick?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. Well, it's not MGS2, so no.
That was I think it was one of the Dead or Alive games you could do that as well.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably a PSP version. It's the only place you could get away with it.
Yeah. And Ace Combat 7 gets a new trailer. Still no release date.
Really interested in this one.
Yeah. Did you see anything else from the show that...
Literally the only thing I've seen so far is the press conferences. I've still got to go and do a deep dive on the individual trailers, and I'm sure I will get myself hyped up depending on what I see.
Yeah. So let's wrap out the show real quick. We've sort of talked generally and about each and every press conference. How did you feel overall about the show, and who do you feel sort of won and who lost for E3 2018?
It's arbitrary to use the won and lost thing, but I mean, to be honest, I think Microsoft walks away from this a winner.
I agree.
And I think Sony walks away from this a loser.
Absolutely.
Especially considering the immediate backlash after the Nintendo Direct against Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we will be talking about that next week.
Yes.
But I think probably the 2 big winners here are Microsoft and Sony. Because Microsoft didn't push anything that's coming out this year, really. Like, they went like, here's a bunch of stuff dropping this year, but they showed why I'm happy I have an X.
Yep.
They showed why I'm happy I'm deep in their platform. Sony showed me 2 or 3 more reasons why I should get a PlayStation 4, but nothing to the point where I should get one right now.
Yeah, like where you should put them on your wish list for when you eventually get a PS4.
Yeah. It's like, okay, Neo 2 is going to be on there just because Neo is already on there.
Yeah.
Nier Automata is coming to my platform now, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
With all the DLC, so it's like you don't have to spend extra. You save $10.
4K and the X, so
yep.
I'll take it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Microsoft walked away with this as a good solid W, but Ubisoft's press conference was so good. Like, just their presentation, not even the games were that great, but Ubisoft put together a good solid show. Showing, like, we've been talking about it for weeks now. It's Ubisoft, they seem to be the publisher about their people.
Yep.
Both the staff and the communities, and I think their show was probably the best, but not many people are going to see it that way. Yeah. So I think Microsoft does walk away with a big W.
Yeah, I agree. I think Microsoft wins. I think Ubisoft and Devolver Digital are sort of in second place for totally different reasons. I like Bethesda a lot. I think they're finding their voice at E3 after 3-4 years.
This is only like their third or fourth one.
Yeah.
Like everyone else has been doing this for decades, apparently.
Yeah, I think it's nice to see they're finally figuring it out. I feel like overall, of course, I feel like Sony lost. That's an easy one. I feel like overall E3 2018 was good. It wasn't one of those banner years where it's like every publisher and every platform holder is coming out and announcing 50, 60 games, 30 of which are coming this year. It's not E3 2016 where we're just like, oh my god, 2017 is going to be so bad and so incredible.
Yep.
I think we're in that sort of middle ground where a lot of developers are put out a game in 2017 and they're working on their next one for late 2019 or 2020 or potentially for the next platform. And it's sort of that calm before the storm. We had the last 2 years were really great. I'm fully expecting E3 2019 to be really great. But you have to have one of those not down years, but good years. And I feel like 2018 was a good year. But not super good.
It was solid.
Yeah.
It wasn't too up, wasn't too down. It was a nice solid one.
Yeah. But that's our episode. It's past 3 straight hours we've been recording. This is our second episode of the day. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Moonpier is melting, and my voice is going, so we're going to wrap this out here. We'll see you for a regular episode next week.
See ya.
And we don't have an outro.
Oh, yeah, we don't.
We're not doing titles. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
And we can stop recording.